Well, this city can present quite a ceremony as well. Expos stars of the past will be on hand watching Blue Jays stars of present day. It's the Blue Jays and the Red Sox next on Sportsnet.
Greg Zahn and Jamie
The real season is near. First, a couple of exhibition games from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. The Blue Jays host the Boston Red Sox. We'll see game one of the weekend series tonight here on Sportsnet. In moments, we'll hear from the play-by-play crew of Buck Martinez and Pat Tabler. Hazel May is here as well. I'm Jamie Campbell, along with Greg Zahn, a man who knows what it's like to get buzzed by Pedro Martinez. I assume that happened more than once to you?
It sure did. We didn't have a whole lot of head-to-head battles, and I didn't get a whole lot of hits against him, but it seemed like one of us always ended up hitting the deck. I'd hit a line drive at him, or he'd throw one behind my head just to remind me that I wasn't going to be able to dig in too hard.
Most of the Blue Jays starting tonight will have played in audiences or before audiences like this. What will it mean for kids like Shane Dawson and Mike Reeves to take the field here?
It's a learning process. I mean, they've never seen anything like this. They've never been in front of a crowd this big, so it's really got to be something that's part of the maturing process. You want to make sure that these kids get exposed to it. I know that I would be shaking like a leaf if I had never seen it before. It's something special.
A lot of people on hand here tonight at Olympic Stadium to see the Blue Jays and the Red Sox, and what a ceremony it was. The ceremonial first pitch thrown by some pretty good players, among them the great Pedro Martinez. We've got the real first pitch coming your way after this.
to Montreal. We are inside the Olympic Stadium, and the Blue Jays will ramp up their spring training for the third consecutive season here in Montreal. Hello, everybody. I'm Buck Martinez, along with my partner, Pat Tabler. And Pat, the travel is not great. Ideally, you start in Dunedin, you fly to Montreal, you go back to St. Pete. But there are some benefits for the players. What are some of those benefits the players will get out of these two games in Montreal?
First of all, they love to come to Montreal because it's a big league atmosphere. You're playing in front of 50,000 fans. Down in spring training, you've got the small ballparks. You're playing day baseball. The players told me they love to get underneath the lights. They love playing the night baseball. And here they get to play on AstroTurf, Buck. They open the season, more importantly, in Tampa, that's AstroTurf. Then they go home and they play on the AstroTurf. They love to get out here and get a feel for that. They are very excited to be playing these two games against the Red Sox.
Well, you can see the packed house here, and it is an atmosphere much like they'll see on opening afternoon in Tampa Bay. Let's take a look at the lineup for John Farrell's Boston Red Sox, and they've got some good players in this lineup. Right at the top of the order, how about Mookie Betts? Look what he's done against the Blue Jays in his young career. 365. 4 homers and 14 ribbies. And then down in that cleanup spot, this will be his final season, 40-year-old David Ortiz. And look what he's done against the Blue Jays. 59 career home runs. That's the most all-time for any one hitter against the Blue Jays franchise, going all the way back to 1977. Now it's time for the starting pitcher, brought to you by Scott's Turf Builder, Green Max Lawn Food. Get a deep green lawn in just 3 days.
Fourth and final start of the spring for Jay Happ, and what a spring it has been for him. 3 games, a very good earned run average, and he wasn't any better than the last time we saw him. In fact, that was the game we did on Saturday against the New York Yankees. He gave up a leadoff home run to Aaron Hicks and then proceeded to retire 14 straight batters. He had a great sinker working that day. He was cutting the ball on the inside part of the plate, using his fastball very effectively. He also got 14 ground ball outs, something that we'll watch tonight if he can keep that ball down.
Well, let's take a look at the defense behind Jay Happ, and in my mind, this is one of the best defenses in baseball. In the outfield, it's Michael Saunders, Kevin Pillar, and Jose Bautista. And on the infield, it doesn't get any better than this. Josh Donaldson, Troy Tulowitzki, Ryan Goins, and Justin Smoke. They can really pick it. And how about a former Gold Glove winner behind the plate, and Russell Martin catching Jay Happ.
And Russell very excited to be home in Montreal. I got a chance to chat with him today. He loves being here, playing in front of the home fans, and why not? He does good things when he's here in Montreal.
Happ is set. First pitch is in there for a strike, and we are underway. This is Mookie Betts. What a season he had a year ago. 291 for the Red Sox. Cuts on the pitch, and it's quickly 0-2.
He's got a very quick bat, lightning quick. You'll watch him hit, and it looks like the pitcher's got the upper hand when he tries to throw a fastball by him. It almost looks like it's in the catcher's mitt. He's got that ability to use those hands and get that bat head through quickly.
18 home runs a year ago, and he flares this one into right. A 2-strike base hit for Mookie Betts.
Well, there it is right there. He's able to wait back on that off-speed pitch from Jay Happ and use those hands. Watch him stay back. The hands stay back. Recognizes it late, lets it travel, and just serves it into right field for the game's first hit.
Well, now Betts is a threat to run against Jay Happ. 21 steals a year ago. He was caught just 8 times. This is Dustin Pedroia, the former MVP. Bouncing ball. Smoke gloves it, goes to second for 1, back to first. Double play. There's that good defense right off the bat.
One of the improvements that the Blue Jays had last year was they were turning the tough double play. No coincidence when Troy Tulowitzki showed up in July that defense took its next step. Justin Smoke, very fine over at first base. The ball is hit to his right. The momentum takes him into the play. And Jay Happ, the PFP that they did in spring training, the pitcher's fielding practice, pays off here with the double play.
Troy Tulowitzki just returning to his position at short after Happ had to bust it over to the bag to cover. He is the captain of the infield. He went in there to give Happ a breather. 2 down. Xander Bogaerts. Jay Happ is pitching with a lot of confidence.
You can see it in the way that he carries himself on that mound. He would buckshot balls early in his career, meaning that he couldn't get the ball over when he needed to, but he can make that adjustment now. And he can throw the ball where he needs to, inside, outside, it doesn't matter.
Happ is now 33 years old. Downstairs, 2-1 to the Red Sox shortstop. Jay signed as a free agent with the Blue Jays, 3-year contract, signed that on November 27th. Missed downstairs. Pat, he's made an adjustment in his pitching style. It seems to be pretty effective.
Well, remember when he was with the Blue Jays, it was sidearm. Let's see if you can drop down just a little bit more to help you get into the strike zone a little bit more consistent. Now he's more over the top. He went to Pittsburgh. Ray Searage talked to him about getting on top just a little bit more. And believe me, they have worked very hard this spring in refining the mechanics for Jay Happ. Pete Walker was telling you and I earlier this week about the stride is very important for Jay Happ. If he starts to overstride, that's when the ball starts leaving the strike zone.
That ball misses down and in for ball 4, and Happ issues the 2-out walk.
Designated hitter number 34, David Ortiz.
They haven't had baseball here in Montreal since 2004, but they know who the stars are.
Yeah, they came out for batting practice and watched this star right here launch about a dozen balls his first round into the stands.
So much for the 2-out walk. One pitch, Ortiz is retired. Jay Happ is through the first inning, taking advantage of some interior outstanding defense. Law, that's the new look leadoff hitter, top of the order, and last year against the Red Sox he had 26 hits against Boston. That's the most for Pilar against any opponent a year ago. And right behind him, how about Josh Donaldson? He too matched Pilar with 26 hits against the Red Sox in 29 games. And this is a terrific lineup, and I don't care where you look in the lineup, they can all do damage.
The good ones seem to rise to the occasion, don't they, when they're facing tough competition? And this is a tough one tonight. Stephen Wright, the knuckleballer, made this team out of spring training. Will get the start. He's a former second-round draft pick of the Cleveland Indians back in 2006. He made 16 big league appearances last year for the Red Sox, including 9 starts. There are his numbers last year in those 16 ball games. He also had a season cut short due to a concussion he suffered in mid-August when he got hit by a baseball in batting practice. The knuckleballer will get the start tonight for the Red Sox.
Blue Jays will likely see Stephen Wright on Sunday, their first homestand, the final game of that 3-game series for the weekend opener. And that weekend opener, that's the opening night, starts Friday night.
John Gibbons was asked tonight if he had second thoughts of maybe taking some of the regulars and not playing them against knuckleball pitching. You know, the knuckleballer can put guys in slump. He said, I would not leave Montreal if I didn't put the regulars in there.
Here is Kevin Pillar with an 0-1 count. Back to the screen.
Good hitters, it doesn't matter, does it? Knuckleball pitchers.
You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You see him tonight. You're going to see him again Sunday on the 10th in Rogers Center, and you don't know what it's going to be like. I tell you what, and you made a great point in the open about the atmosphere, how it brings out the best of these guys at the end of a long spring.
They talked about it around the batting cage today, playing under the lights, playing night games, getting into that routine that you're going to have.
Swing and a drive. Get up, ball, get up. How about a home run for Pilar? I think the Blue Jays found their leadoff hitter.
Kevin's had a good spring. You might look at the numbers and say, yeah, well, has he really had a good spring? Yes. If you had a chance to watch him day in and day out, the way he took batting practice, the way the ball came off of the bat, you can tell that he is really juiced about hitting in this leadoff spot. Had a chance to watch him in batting practice today, and he was juicing balls in batting practice. He was teasing around with Josh Donaldson. Donaldson says the ball doesn't carry here in this ballpark. Well, he made him look like a liar on that one.
Josh Donaldson takes the first pitch strike.
How about this swing? He's ready for the season to start. How he stays back. The head doesn't even move.
Donaldson behind 0-2. Josh Donaldson, the reigning MVP of the American League, and this spring, no home runs yet, but believe me, he, like Pilar, is swinging the bat very well right now.
Remember last year, he had 6 home runs in the spring. The last one came right here in this ballpark, the dead center field. And he was swinging hard in spring training last year. This year, a little bit more control. Says he's working on his line drive stroke, the left center field, right center field, trying to go back up the middle.
Takes a call, third strike. Turns around and looks at the home plate umpire, Stu Sherwater. Not really sure about that call.
One more look at the home run by Kevin Pilar. Leg lift, head right on that baseball. It's an elevated knuckleball. That's the thing that happens with knuckleballs. If they're not knuckling, if they're not moving, they stay straight. And you can hit them a long way.
Jose Bautista gets a hero's welcome here in Montreal. Another great season for Bautista a year ago. He had a couple of home runs in the spring. Last year, he topped the 40 home run mark once again. 40 homers and 114 RBIs. I don't know that I've ever seen Bautista in better shape than he's in right now.
You watch him day after day, and you watch him prepare for batting practice and the stretching and everything that he does. He looks in fantastic shape. He's got one of those bodies. It might say 35 years old on the birth certificate, but it's more like 25.
Yeah, he's going to age very well. He takes terrific care of himself. 1 out. Blue Jays lead at 1-0 on Kevin Pilar's home run. I tell you what, you have seen it. We've seen it all throughout the end of last year. How this team really communicates. They exchange information very well. Bautista makes his way to first base. Pitch up and in.
Not so much on a knuckleball pitcher because they'll all know. But Donaldson, after striking out on that tough knuckleball, he'll go back to the bench and say he's going to throw the ball a little bit harder with 2 strikes. And he'll try and get a little bit more movement when he gets to 2 strikes.
This is Troy Tulowitzki. Tulo had a terrific postseason, drove in 11 runs for the Blue Jays. Hit just .230 during the regular season since joining the Blue Jays. He hit 4 home runs this spring as well.
On a mission. He has looked real good. When you watch him hit, when you watch Tulowitzki, the barrel goes right to the baseball. No matter where the pitch is thrown. If it's up and in, he has that ability to get the barrel up through the strike zone, down and away. He can hit the ball to right field.
Might have been a fastball. Looked like he threw a fastball inside and strikes out Tulowitzki. 2 down, 2 strikeouts this inning for Stephen Wright. We haven't seen him throw an awful lot of fastballs. You mentioned the start we saw in spring training when Wright pitched against the Blue Jays. He had a couple of pretty good innings down there. He went 4 innings, allowed 3 hits, didn't allow a run. Chris Colabello, he's the DH here this afternoon. Of course, Edwin Encarnacion is not with the Blue Jays. He's still down in Dunedin, continuing to work out in the minor league camp.
And there's no doubt he's going to be fine come Sunday afternoon. All the reports on Edwin have been very positive, that he's hitting the ball well. He only had 25 at-bats last year in spring training.
He's going to be just fine. 0-1 to Colabello. Bautista picks his spots on the bases. I don't expect he's going to run in this situation here. In the spring last year, he had 8 stolen bases, was caught just 2 times. Colabello, what a season he had. 321 a year ago. 2 hopper to short. Xander Bogaerts gathers himself and throws out Colabello, but how about the leadoff batter? Kevin Pillar, making a bid to win the spot out of spring training, had a good spring and is going to finish up on a high note. Hits a home run to lead this game off. 1-0 Jays.
Fans catch all 81 Blue Jays home games in 4K with captivating detail and 4 times the resolution of HD. Every play comes to life. Sportsnet brings you Sportsnet 4K, and Buck will also be in 4K tomorrow. Back to you.
Yeah, Hazel, that's a real innovative introduction we're bringing to the fans this year. 4 times the resolution, as you mentioned, and you can find Sportsnet 4K and Sportsnet 1 4K on Rogers channel 997 and 998.
First major league game ever this weekend here in Montreal in 4K. Congratulations.
This is Hanley Ramirez, who is now the first baseman of the Boston Red Sox. Ramirez started the season last year as a left fielder, and it didn't go so well. See his numbers a year ago. 249, 19, and 53, and they need a bounce-back season from Hanley Ramirez.
They need some protection for David Ortiz, and this is the right guy to do it. He can swing the bat. They just needed to find a position for him when left field didn't work out for him. That is an understatement. Last year it just didn't work out. Then he got hurt as he was trying to figure out first base, and then they eventually just shut him down for the rest of the season. But they're looking for him to have a good year. They think he can handle first base. He's had a good spring defensively over there.
3-0, taking all the way a 4-pitch walk.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Men at first for Travis Shaw, the youngster that won the third base position out of spring training. Happ delivers a strike. Shaw made an impression on Boston a year ago. Hit 13 home runs and 10 doubles in very limited action.
Over at first base. And with Hanley Ramirez over there, they needed to find a spot for this guy. Well, he can hit. He can really hit. You can see the defense. The Blue Jays playing him to pull. It's really interesting. You don't see left-handed pitchers throwing to left-handed batters, and they have the overshift. It's a lot easier for left-handed batters to stay on that ball and just shoot the ball the other way.
That ball is pulled. Looked like an off-speed pitch. Now, you're right. When you look at young hitters, and it's got to be tempting to a young hitter to see that much of a hole on the left side of the infield.
Well, what are left-handed batters doing against left-handed pitchers? Trying to stay on the ball.
Yep.
Just a little bit longer. Susceptible to that breaking ball, so they'll stay on it, and that's when they'll hit the ball the other way.
Shaw forgot his trigger. Couldn't pull the trigger on that heater. He strikes out looking against Jay Happ. First K for Happ this evening.
You know, there is something about Jay Happ. When you talk to the hitters, they say the ball gets on you real quick. Hides the ball somehow, and all of a sudden the ball's on top, and that's what happens right there. He throws a fastball on a breaking ball count and hits the outside corner for his first strikeout.
Chris Young, right-handed hitter, in against the left-hander Happ, and they signed him after he played last year with the Yankees because he hit so well against lefty pitching. Good numbers a year ago. 14 homers and 42 ribbies for the Yanks.
Limited time, and he will probably share time in left field with Brock Holt, which leaves Rusney Castillo out of the picture right now.
Rusney Castillo and his $72 million contract. The Red Sox got some heavy iron on the bench. Ball and a strike to Young, and it's fouled out of play. Blue Jays turned a double play in the first inning. John Farrell, his club needs to get off to a good start. These two teams will play 7 times in the first couple of weeks of the season, the Red Sox and the Blue Jays.
Everybody is familiar with each other, so there's no secrets.
There's that pitch that's so effective for Jay Happ, and you could see how tentative Young was, offering it that high fastball.
Well, if he can do that, get the ball up in the strike zone, something that he couldn't do earlier in his career, throw the ball up and then come right back down, change the eye level, the eye plane of that hitter.
Boy, that's a great sequence of pitches right there.
That's what happens right there. You get that hitter standing up just a little bit when you throw that high fastball, and then Jay cuts the ball underneath his bat. Watch the half swing by Young, not real sure, and he comes up empty. Excellent sequence.
When you see swings like that, it suggests that the hitter's not picking up the baseball. That's a good sign. This is Blake Swihart. He's a switch hitting catcher. Swihart came up last year and did a nice job.
Got some playing time after Christian Vasquez was lost in the season with the elbow injury. Swihart came in and got a lot of playing time.
Swihart last season hit .274 as a rookie. Made a nice impression. Handled the pitching staff well, and it was loaded with veteran pitchers. Not an easy task for a rookie. This is where Jay's really got to make an adjustment, try to figure out how to get that ball in the strike zone.
His last start against the Yankees, we did it last Saturday. He didn't walk a batter. 6 innings, did not walk a batter. He was all over that strike zone. In fact, before this start, He only had one walk all spring long in his major league games. He threw some down in the minor league complex, but in his 3 starts, he had 1 walk. He's had 2 already tonight.
3 balls and a strike to the Red Sox catcher. On the ground, Donaldson can't make a play. Tulowitzki double clutches, and that cost him. Tulowitzki got to it, and when he first grabbed the baseball, he had a shot at Swihart.
Getting a chance to play on that turf. I thought initially he was going to go to second base to try and go get the short out over there, but then you saw the reach into the glove and he just didn't have the ball secure. Swihart can run for a catcher.
First and second, number 9 hitter is Jackie Bradley Jr. and Happ jumps ahead with a fastball. Bradley, 10 home runs last year in an abbreviated season. He was in the minor leagues early in the season. But he can really play in the outfield. And he had a great August.
Remember the series he had against the Blue Jays? It seemed like everything he hit was extra bases. Home runs the other way, doubles down the right field line.
All the way back to the screen, Martin has no play. This is unusual for Happ this spring. We have seen him really have a very good delivery and is really making quality pitches.
Yeah, he's been great, but tonight maybe it's the big league atmosphere. So much different. We talked about it in the opening for the players. That ball hits out in front of home plate. Martin can't get over there to try and block it. But when Jay was wild in spring training, he was able to find it.
Fly ball to left. Saunders on the run. Nice running catch to end the threat. Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. When we come back to Montreal, Michael Saunders, the Canadian, will start things off, and right behind him, Montreal's own
TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Great crowd on hand here at the Big O. Blue Jays have had sellout crowds for each of the last 2 seasons they've played here. This is the Canadian Michael Saunders, and Michael is thrilled to be healthy once again. Of course, last season had that injured knee prior to the start of spring training.
Yeah, he didn't even have a spring training. First day of spring training. Michael stepped on a sprinkler and was out for basically the whole year. He wasn't the same player that we saw the few games that he did play.
Now, he never really got healthy a year ago, and it's a different Michael Saunders we have seen this spring. Taking all the way, it's 3-1. Of course, Michael's going to be the everyday left fielder, and you put him down in this batting order, batting 6th in the batting order. It just shows you how deep this lineup is.
Blue Jays had a lot of success. I think that was one of the keys offensively for them last year, is how well the number 8 and the number 9 hitter did in this lineup.
There's a deep drive to center. Jackie Bradley on the run, looking up. Goodbye, home run. Welcome back to Canada. Russell grew up in Montreal. Blue Jays with Canadians hitting back-to-back in this lineup.
How about a standing O at the big O for Russell Martin? I tell you, he is so excited.
Jackie Bradley Jr. got a good read on that, makes the sinking liner. Let's go back and take a look at the Michael Saunders home run.
Exploded on the scene this spring with 3 home runs very quickly. First week of spring training, and hasn't hit one since. He's been dry until he gets back on the native soil in Canada. Drives this ball to center field. It was a 3-1 fastball that he got from the knuckleballer, and he hit it. Hit it hard to center.
First baseman Justin Smoke. I tell you what, the line just keeps coming at you, and the Red Sox are aware of that. They have seen this act before. Smoke pounded out 18 homers a year ago. He hit 4 this spring, and Pat, he's a different hitter now.
Yeah, he's balanced. He is hitting over 340 this spring. He is balanced. It seems like he's going to try and take the strikeouts without losing any power in his swing. You mentioned batting practice and the way the Blue Jays are deep. I was standing by Brian Butterfield, third base coach for the Red Sox, right at the end of the Blue Jays batting practice, and he said, well, the Jays are finally finished batting practices. Is there any baseballs left? They must have lost dozens into the stands after BP today.
He also said, Butterfield, that he wanted to go back inside because he wasn't too comfortable watching the Blue Jays hit. 2 home runs this evening for the Blue Jays. Leadoff homer by Kevin Pillar, and a leadoff home run in the second by Michael Saunders. Full count. Cut on and missed, and Smoke foul tips it into the catcher's glove. Well, we talk about this powerful lineup, and the Blue Jays, they have been among the best in hitting the home run the last several seasons.
You know, it's not just about the home runs with the Blue Jays. You can see they've always been in the top 5 over the last 5 seasons. They're experienced hitters. When they get their pitch, they don't miss it. They're just good hitters that happen to have a lot of power.
I think this team's going to outproduce themselves from a year ago, having Tulowitzki in the lineup for a full season and having Ryan Goins as your number 9 hitter. Goins hit .250 last year.
Remember, everybody said if he could only hit .250, what a player he's going to be.
Well, we got a chance to visit a little later on with the president of the Blue Jays, Mark Shapiro, and we'll get his take on getting to see these Blue Jay players firsthand for the entire spring. See what his impression is and how it may differ from what he thought it would be. We're also going to be joined in the booth by the Hall of Famer, Pedro Martinez. So stick around, folks. We got a lot to offer you tonight. What improvements have you seen from Goins at the plate?
I see a little bit more power in his stance. Last year, he'd keep that bat on his shoulder, and as the pitcher was winding up, he would very slowly take it off of his shoulder and then go and hit. And that was just to keep him a little bit more tight, if you will, at the plate. Shorten up the swing, let the ball track. This year, he's taking it off a little bit sooner. And it looks like he wants to do a little bit more extra base damage. Heck, when you got everybody in your lineup powering the ball out of the ballpark for extra bases, you want to join the party.
Well, you made a great point about the bottom third of this lineup a year ago and how they got on base, and you turn this lineup over, you're asking for trouble. Pilar was hitting down in the order a year ago. Goins oftentimes hit ninth. Now with Pilar, Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion, Tulowitzki, it's a deep lineup.
Pitchers get through the middle of that lineup. Remember, we heard that a lot last year, especially in the playoffs. The top part of the Blue Jays lineup is so dangerous. It's like if you try to exhale once you get past them, that's where you start making mistakes.
What an at-bat. Ryan Goins drives into the alley in left center. Jackie Bradley Jr. cuts it off, but Goins, what an at-bat. Two-out double with 2 strikes.
Keeps the inning alive. And what were we saying about extra base hits? For Ryan Goins, it looked like he was trying to power the ball just a little bit more, trying to get some extra base pop in that bat. Watch him stay back. He's become a very good 2-strike hitter. Knuckleball that hangs out over the plate. He doesn't roll over on that pitch. He goes with it, stays with it, and hits it in the left center field for extra bases.
So that'll turn the lineup over with a runner in scoring position. It's Kevin Pillar. Pillar drove in 56 a year ago. He had an awful month of May. He had 186 in the month of May. But boy, did he turn things around in June. Bouncing ball right back to the pitcher. That'll end it. Blue Jays leave a runner, but they score one in the bottom of the second. Michael Saunders, the left fielder for the Blue Jays, is healthy once again. That's bad news for the American League. He hit 19 home runs in 2012. back to Montreal. We are in the third inning, and we're pleased now to be joined by the president and CEO of the Toronto Blue Jays, Mark Shapiro. Mark, welcome to Toronto, first of all.
Well, Montreal.
Well, we're in Montreal. Welcome to Toronto. That's the point. But you're in your first year with the Blue Jays.
Yes,
You've just
sir.
gone through your first spring training. What are your impressions of this ball club compared to what you might have thought about the ball club at the end of last year?
Well, it was easy to respect the ball club across the field. Just the talent, the offensive talent, the intensity, the fire, but to be around them every day, to watch their determination, resilience, and grit, really. I mean, these are guys that have a story, a collective chip on their shoulder, a clear sense of purpose and intent. It's been a pleasure, as a baseball executive, to watch these guys go about their work and prepare for the season.
Is there somebody on this team where, when you were at the Indians, you say, yeah, he's a pretty good player. Now you had a chance to watch him for 6 weeks and you go, wow, he's a really good player.
Maybe not the guy you'd expect, but Ryan Goins for me, maybe because I didn't even notice him across the field, but to watch him every day, his defensive ability, he is transformative defensively, and I think it really, leads to our defense up the middle is something I didn't fully appreciate till I had the chance to watch these guys every day with Russell, Ryan, Tulo, and Kevin Pillar, who obviously was easy to see his defensive capability. That and probably just the way these guys work. I mean, it's not just what you see, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. every night. The way they go about their business in the cages, the way they, practice, their trade is really impressive to see. I always say, listen, there are no mistakes. When good players become great players, when good teams become great teams, there is something behind it, and it's usually the way they go about their preparation. So the way these guys prepare, and maybe our defense up the middle, maybe the two things that stood out the most.
Mark, you grew up around athletes. You grew up as your father was an agent. You were around the Baltimore Orioles and those great athletes, and then of course you were an athlete yourself. Now as an executive for a number of years, how important in your mind is chemistry in this day and age? And when you look at this team, for me it's tremendous chemistry on this team, but how important is it to you?
Well, I think baseball is a unique game. 162 games a year, 183 days, 45 days more in spring training. It can be a derailer if there's not good chemistry. It can be something that creates an inefficient environment where there's a lot of energy wasted on bad dynamics and players not getting along and focus away from the game and going about their jobs. So to me, it's something where, great chemistry is almost a byproduct of, winning at times. But good chemistry is what enables you to get through the tough dips that come naturally within 162 games. So it's essential to have a strong foundation of character and guys that have respect and trust just to survive the 162-game season. To get to that great chemistry, you got to win a little bit too, I think.
Let's talk a little bit about the ball club. You came over here. It's a heck of a ball club. There wasn't a lot of holes, I guess, to be filled, but there were some big decisions to be made in spring training. Tell us some of the thoughts that you guys kicked around in those meetings, or what went into some of your decisions.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing we had to deal with was just the depth that it takes to survive a 162-game season. I think those are the things beneath the surface. And we were faced with, thinking about from a pitching staff, recognizing that it's going to take, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 starters to survive 162 games in a championship quality season. So thinking about the right decisions to do that along with the team that is most competitive, recognizing that some of the little decisions, not on bench players and how we build depth at Buffalo, those things were going to be crucial, not maybe day one, but to survive the season.
Depth, you said it. That led me to my next question. How do you build depth, and was that something that you set your mind to when you took over this job?
I think it was something from day one that, any opportunity we've got to infuse talent, whether that be the minor league free agent market, small trades, waiver claims, certainly the obvious ways in the draft that are much longer term decisions. But, we looked at any opportunity we had, not just to do one thing, which was, make sure we supplement and build around the championship caliber team we've got. But any depth we could possibly add was something that we will be, and we were relentlessly focused on as a baseball front office.
You made a quick decision on signing Jay Happ. What was appealing about Jay Happ?
Well, I think the quick decision was just a good read by Tony and our entire baseball operations staff of just how challenging the starting pitching market was going to be in free agency this year. There was some surplus on the position player side, but the pitching market was decimated very quickly. Jay is a guy that obviously we know as an organization, number one, obviously left-handed, major league quality stuff, caliber pitcher, had a great year last year. In addition to that, he's going to control all the controllables. His work ethic, his intelligence, his ability to make adjustments, his desire to compete. You're going to get everything you got. Win or lose, you're going to know you got a guy out there that's going to get after it and give you everything he has. And I think in the end of the day, in these jobs as fans, that's what you want from your guys.
A couple of the guys who aren't here, they're still down there, are going to play a big part. Edwin Encarnacion, Marco Estrada,
Yeah.
how are they doing?
Estrada, great. Just before we headed up here, he made a start in the minor leagues. We just have to get him stretched out. The only hiccup we had was just that he was a little behind in building pitch count, and the way the schedule unfolded allows us to have a little bit of extra time. Edwin also DHing in minor league games. Need to make sure he's going to be able to survive, but everything looks everything looks good for him from day one. So, hopefully that'll be a decision we'll have to make.
We have 2 outs now as Jay Happ has given up a run here in this inning. And can we ask, do you stay another half inning after this?
Sure, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many things we'd like to cover before the start of the season, but when you think about this ball club, and you mentioned a chip on their shoulder, I too believe that they have some unfinished business, and with Jay Happ striking out Big Papi, we will come back for another half inning with Mark Shapiro, the CEO and president of the Toronto Blue Jays. Reminder, the Blue Jays season will get underway on Sunday. It all starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 12 p.m. Pacific Time. The Blue Jays will be in St. Petersburg to take on Chris Archer and the Tampa Bay Rays. And how about Marcus Stroman drawing the nod for the opening day start? And we are pleased to be joined by Mark Shapiro here in the broadcast booth. Marcus Stroman's a pretty special young guy, Mark.
He is.
Your chance to see him for the first time on an everyday basis.
Looking forward to that. Again, a full season from him, what that could mean to this team. Still a guy who's developing. I mean, you forget maybe just how young he is. So I think even though he's toeing the rubber day one, I still look at him as a developmental guy just because he has so much to experience in the big league, some of the ups and downs.
With that being said, there are a couple of guys that really don't have much history in the major leagues. How concerned are you about innings count, pitch count, and all that with Stroman and with Sanchez?
Well, I mean, I look at it this way, innings, pitches, those are things that are guideposts. They help you make decisions. The best decisions are made by a good major league staff that has a feel for the situation and a feel for players. Fatigue is when injuries happen. Fatigue is what you need to monitor. And in order to really gauge fatigue, you've got to be in the dugout. You've got to be with those guys and have a feel for the game and a history within the game as well. So I think we've got, in Gibby, an unbelievable leader, and in Pete, You know, like Pete Walker, a guy that is a difference maker as a pitching coach. So I'm comfortable with those guys leading. There'll be decisions we talk about. You know, everybody's opinion will be valued as we go through that, along with all the information. But those guys are going to have the pulse on helping us avoid, and they've done a great job at that. If you look back at what they've done, they've already done a good job.
Your teams in Cleveland, when you were there, the staple of those teams were great pitchers. I mean,
yes,
think
sir.
of some of the great pitchers that came through, the guys that you developed. Do you see that with the Blue Jays, and did that have anything to do with Aaron Sanchez going into the starting rotation?
Well, I mean, Aaron Sanchez going into the rotation was a decision that was gone about the right way. We talked to the coaching staff, we talked to the front office, our professional scouts, we talked to the training staff, strength and conditioning, everybody, and I think we wanted to get a comfort level with his ability to not only fill that role, but endure, the bulk of the season before we felt like he might reach a threshold we need to pull him out. And to a man, people felt like, A, he's got the stuff that gives us the best chance to win. That's the easiest thing. And B, he's progressing on the right trajectory, to continue developing as a starter. Good for the short term because it helps us compete. Good for the long term because it gives us another power arm in the rotation.
Another tough decision at the end was who's going to close, and you have a youngster in Osuna and a veteran in Storen. How did you come to that decision? Well,
that was Gibby's call, 110%. And I'd say this to you, that I wouldn't place as much emphasis on that decision because those are fluid decisions. And I think Gibby said that. You're naming a day one closer, right? A guy that's going to get the ball in the ninth inning day one. Inevitably over the course of a season, you're going to have to adjust. We're fortunate that when we do, we've got three guys who all have closed major league games and been effective doing that. So, we're certainly fortunate. I hope Osuna takes that and runs with it and we don't have a hiccup, but we've got other guys who can do it as well.
Well, Mark, we certainly want to thank you for your time. We know we got 2 outs here, and we want to welcome you here for your first full season.
I'm excited.
You can see how the Blue Jays are received even in Montreal. It's a special following.
It really is. I'm excited for the season. I'm excited to have games start to count. This is a great way to ease into it, to have a game that doesn't count but have 50,000 people in the stands going crazy. So we got good times coming. Anxious to get back to Toronto and in front of those fans and to feel the electricity and the energy in Rogers Center in just a week. It'll be exciting.
We're excited to have you tonight because I know you're not going to be here tomorrow. You're traveling to my hometown.
I am. I'm going to Cincinnati. I'm going to watch my son. His first tournament kicks off.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited to see him play. I'm going to miss a lot of games this year. There's a chance to see a couple games of his this weekend.
There's a ground ball to short. Bogarts gathers and throws out Tulowitzki. Mark, thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure, guys. Look forward to seeing you back home.
Nothing but the best this season. All right.
An MVP bobblehead presented by Pizza Nova takes place Sunday, April 24th when the Blue Jays face the Oakland Athletics at 1:07 p.m. First 20,000 receive a Josh Donaldson MVP bobblehead. For more information, visit BlueJays.com for tickets.
That'd be a great day, Hazel, April 24th, when Josh Donaldson's bobblehead will be given away. And I'll tell you what, you see Josh Donaldson and you see the great production on the field. Then you see some of the antics. He's animated. He's a very type A personality. But man, oh man, he's a baseball guy.
And he's a leader, too. He is a leader of this team.
This is Hanley Ramirez, the first baseman. He walked his first time up back in the second. Well, we want to thank Mark Shapiro. That was a very interesting exchange we had with him for the inning, talking about the upcoming season and his first as the president and CEO of the Blue Jays. Ball on the strike. There's that good sinker, a lot of late movement down and away.
You know, something we didn't see from Jay Happ when he was with the Blue Jays previously. He didn't have that good sinker. He had it working in his last time out. Getting 14 ground ball outs against the New York Yankees. They just could not get that ball in the air against him.
And they had Beltran, A-Rod, and Teixeira in that lineup.
Yeah, they had their A team in there. But Jay was just masterful that afternoon. Tonight, he's not as sharp as he was that afternoon. Fighting it just a little bit tonight.
Ground ball. Donaldson takes it about chest high. Easy play. Jay Happ was traded midseason a year ago. He went from Seattle to Pittsburgh, and Pat, there was quite a change when Happ arrived in the National League.
Ray Searage is an outstanding pitching coach for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He has a way of helping guys who get over there, get traded over there, or they're signed as free agent. I don't want to call them reclamation projects because they're major league pitchers, but he did something with Jay Happ, got him into a good position, really used that upright position and get that arm coming through a little bit more consistently in his release point. Pound the strike zone, as you can see in those numbers. You would think it would be opposite pitching in Seattle. That's a great pitcher's ballpark.
Bigger ballpark, yeah. Jay made 11 starts for the Pirates, went 7-2 during those 11 starts. He was traded at the trade deadline. That's the same number of starts David Price had pitching for the Blue Jays. That ball hit down in that Red Sox dugout area. Chili Davis is the hitting coach. He's standing there on the steps. That's Carl Willis.
I think he got hit.
He did. Carl Willis on the bench. He's the pitching coach who took over in May a year ago. Happ's got a little extra giddy up this inning. Shaw's been late on those last two pitches.
No need to mess around right here. Just go right after him.
Russell Martin calling for that high fastball and have hit the glove. Two-1 Blue Jays lead it on a pair of home runs. Wouldn't you like to pitch for this team?
The Blue Jays? 5. Just give me 5 innings so I can try and get a win. I think there'll be nights where the offense scores a lot of runs, where the pitchers can maybe be stretched out just a little bit longer. What that does is it takes a lot of pressure off your bullpen.
Ground ball. Goins out in shallow right field. 2 down.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic. Now available with Turbo. The 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Russell Martin jersey right behind a Vladimir Guerrero jersey, and Guerrero was here in the pregame ceremonies that included the great Hall of Famer Pedro Martinez, and they had quite a cast of former Expos on hand. Vladimir Guerrero. Tim Raines, Rock Raines was honored as well, along with Pedro. That one sneaks by Tulowitzki as Chris Young's aboard.
This is our 3rd year here in Montreal, and it's the 3rd year that they have done that, honored some of the great players that have played for the Expos. When they were announcing some of the players today, like, wow, they had some really good players come through here.
Jose Vidra was introduced, as was Marquise Grissom. Vladdy Guerrero, he's going to get consideration for the Hall of Fame. Terrific player.
Oh yeah.
449 career home runs for Guerrero and an 8-time Silver Slugger.
You know what would have been really cool is his son plays in the Blue Jays organization. If they could have brought him up here and maybe played an inning or two, so he could have seen his father do this, come out to a standing ovation.
That's a great smile, and we have seen that over the years. Vladdy Guerrero enjoyed playing the game. There's a fastball strike to the Red Sox catcher. 0-2.
Still one of the best throws I ever saw was from Vladimir Guerrero. I think it was in this ballpark, wasn't it? From down in the corner, from the warning track down in the right field corner, all the way to home plate on fly.
Yeah, that was a throw that many people remember for his ability. He had a great arm, very good arm strength, and he was the MVP in the American League in 2004 with the Angels.
And the guy who was also honored tonight might have had a better arm than Vladimir Guerrero, if you remember him.
Ellis Valentine, great right fielder in the heyday when Rock Raines was in left and Andre Dawson was in center. High fastball. Boy, what a pitch. Jerry Happ strikes out Blake Swihart. They'll go to the bottom of the 4th. The Blue Jays lead at 2-1 behind Jay Happ. Here at the Big O, and for more on what's happening, let's check in with Hazel May, who's got a special guest.
I certainly do. I'm with the author of the book Up, Up, and Away, a terrific book on the unforgettable Montreal Expos. Jonah Carey is here with me. Let me be the first to welcome you to the Sportsnet family. Tell everybody at home what you'll be doing there on Blue Jays Central this upcoming season.
I'll be involved in analysis. I'll be working on various ways to understand the game a little bit better and really break down the concepts, and I'm excited about it. It's a perfect fit for me, and I have a lot of admiration for everybody at Sportsnet. It's going to be great.
It will be great. Let me ask you about former Expo Tim Raines. We saw him in the pregame ceremony, Jonah, and I know the movement to get him inducted into the Hall of Fame has really gained momentum, and you've had a huge part in that. Will we see him in Cooperstown?
I do think we will. He was 23 votes short last time, so that's very close, obviously. And what we've seen traditionally is that guys get a bump on their last vote. Alan Trammell last year, who didn't make it, but he got a huge jump in the last one, kind of kind of a sympathy vote, if you want to say that. That combined with just the momentum of it, and also people just understanding his resume. I guess I have played some part in that, which is great. I'm happy about it, but I think other people have too. They've come to recognize that he is definitely worthy, and I do think that he will get in.
All right, we look forward to working together, Jonah Carey. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Hazel.
All right, Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And Jonah Carey is going to be on board with the Sportsnet family all season long. And Pat, he makes a good argument for Rock Range when you start to look at his career numbers. 2,605 hits. He was a .294 career hitter with 808 stolen bases.
That's the thing that's impressive. Over 800 stolen bases. I believe that's 5th all-time in stolen bases. One of those prototypical leadoff hitters with speed, on-base percentage, and if you made a mistake, you could lose the baseball with a home run.
Yeah, he was one of the true leadoff hitters along the lines of a Ricky Henderson. And you know what? He doesn't get the credit he deserves for being an impact player for a long time. Chris Colabello is the batter. Colabello grounded out to short his first time up. There's a good knuckleball, and Colabello strikes out. That's 5 strikeouts now for Stephen Wright.
Stephen Wright did a really good job for the Boston Red Sox last year when they got a chance. He held opponents to a .239 batting average. That's the second lowest by a Red Sox rookie since 1994. Used that knuckleball, gave him something different to look at.
Red Sox starting pitching, just like everybody else in the division. That's going to be the real basis for how well they're going to do in this division, and it's all about starting pitching. This is Michael Saunders, who went deep to center back in the second. Mentioned Michael hit 19 home runs with the Seattle Mariners in 2012. That's his career high. Another good swing from Saunders. He's going to make the turn around first, and here's the throw from Bradley Jr. and right on the money. I might want to review that one during the regular season. Looked like he got his foot in ahead of the tag. Good throw by Jackie Bradley Jr.
No review here in spring training, but I'm with you. I'd like to take a look at that one more time. Jackie Bradley Jr., one of the finest center fielders. The American League East is full of great center fielders. They can run and they can throw. That one looked like it might have been a little tardy. Looked like Michael got his spikes in before the tag was applied by Dustin Pedroia. If you can see the second base umpire right on top of it.
Toby Vasner has moved over from third base to second. He's got great position, but that's a swing and a miss from Pedroia. We'll get that one a do-over on Sunday.
Starting Sunday, that's a double for Michael.
Absolutely. Russell Martin, he flew out to center field his first time up.
And I love the swing. That was a good approach by Michael Saunders.
You mentioned it during the open. These guys are energized by this atmosphere. It is a tough travel schedule for sure. But you can see the Blue Jay fans have turned up. Two balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs, bottom of the 4th. Look out, Russell. That's why you wear that elbow pad. You can hear it clearly hitting the back of that elbow pad, and he'll take his base with 2 outs.
Well, if you're going to get hit, I guess the knuckleball pitcher is the guy you want to get hit by. Fans didn't like it. Their hometown hero. Knuckleball gets away from Stephen Wright, and you can see that elbow exposed just a little bit, but that's why you wear it, like you said. Listen to this.
That's good sound. The sound of plastic taking the brunt of that inside pitch. Martin aboard with 2 outs. Justin Smoak. Swihart located it, and Smoak put up the stop sign for Russell Martin at first. Russell Martin can appreciate what Swihart's dealing with back there, trying to corral that knuckleball.
Yeah, he got to deal with R.A. Dickey last season. This year he doesn't have to worry about that. Josh Tolley made the team out of spring training and will handle R.A. Dickey.
Nothing like baseball to share with your father. Driven to left and deep. Off the warning track, and they're going to stop Russell Martin at third. Justin Smoak stayed on that pitch and drove it one hop off the wall in left.
You know, that's the improvement that we have seen from Justin Smoak. He's a little bit more balanced at the plate. His first movement isn't to go out and get the ball. It's to stay centered like he did right there, and he can drive the ball out of any part of the ballpark. Left fielder Chris Young got turned around, slipped on the warning track. If this was a regular season game, they might have taken a chance to try and score Russell Martin, but they're going to hold him at third base, and it's a stand-up double for Smoak.
Especially with 2 outs, number 9 hitter played, you'd send him. Just take a shot, try to score that run. Goins bounces on the first pitch to Hopper to Pedroia, and the Blue Jays will leave a pair. Well, the whole Sportsnet staff is in Montreal, and now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
Scott's Turf Builder grass seed with Water Smart Plus coating. Grows grass quicker and thicker, guaranteed.
Welcome back to Montreal. Blue Jays lead it 2-1. We head to the top of the 5th, and with that we get a new pitcher. And this is an interesting guy, Pat, a Rule 5 pitcher that made the Blue Jays out of spring training, Joe Biagini.
Yeah, and why not? Because he has to be on the roster the whole season, or he's got to be offered back to the San Francisco Giants, where the Blue Jays took him from. He's got major league stuff. 6 outings in the spring. He struck out at least one batter in every one of them but one. He's got a big fastball and a good overhand curveball. What's been impressive about him so far in this spring is his ability to throw strikes. A lot of times when you see minor leaguers come up and where they pitched last year, they're in awe in spring training against big league hitters. Biagini has not shown that at all. He looks like he belongs.
Biagini has never pitched above Double-A. He was with the San Francisco Giants last year, pitched in the Eastern League at Richmond. He was a starter throughout his career. He has made 86 minor league starts. He's going to work out of the bullpen with the Blue Jays this season. And Pat, the good news about Biagini making this ball club, he goes from number 66 to number 48.
From Juan Guzman's old number.
Yeah.
To number 48, a little bit more palatable, I guess, as a player.
Biagini is big, 6'4". He's listed at 215. He's much bigger than that. He's closer to 250. He's a big, strong man. 25 years old. This is Jackie Bradley Jr., the center fielder, and Biagini misses. I'll tell you what, Blue Jays pitchers, both pitchers for that matter, have been squeezed a little bit with the strike zone tonight.
Yeah, I think so. Also, some borderline pitches that were called off the plate. The coaches, when you talk about Joe Biagini, every one of them said at the end of spring training, you know what, we picked him as a Rule 5 guy. We saw him in spring training. He should make the club. He pitched well enough to make the club. Let's see what we got here.
That's going to get down for a hit and go all the way to the wall off the bat of Jackie Bradley Jr. Saunders will play it back in toward third base. A leadoff double for the number 9 hitter.
Pretty good pitch from Biagini. It's just a good hitter who is really blossoming into a very good hitter. Stays right with it. That was a pitch that was going to give Jackie Bradley Jr. problems a couple of years ago. Now he's staying on it. Hit that ball hard to left field.
Well, it's not unusual that you see younger players like Jackie Bradley Jr. have a couple of steps backwards before they step forward for the final time. Leadoff double. It's a 1-run game back to the top of the order, and this is the same with the Red Sox as it is with the Blue Jays. You just turn the lineup over and you're asking for trouble too.
Yeah, you're pitching out of the stretch with runners on base and you're heading to the heart of the order.
I talk a lot with Biagini all spring long, and he said the one thing he wanted to do this year, recognizing that he was going to pitch against major league hitters, was be able to make adjustments from one pitch to the next. I think that's really important. There's that curveball. What a swing by Mookie Betts. He laid back on it and serves it into right field for an RBI single. That's the effect of a slow breaking ball. You see a good hitter make an adjustment.
Remember we talked his first time up when he had a single, how he can stay back and his hands are lightning quick. Watch how he recognizes this pitch, keeps his weight back, keeps the hands back, and almost takes this out of Russell Martin's glove and just shoots it to right field for an RBI single.
Boy, that's quite an attribute for a young player, just 23 years old, to be able to see that hanging breaking ball and not try to hit a home run with it.
I think his mindset was after the leadoff double, I'm going to try and hit something to right field. And the worst case scenario is I'm going to get that runner, that tying run to third base. Well, he did better.
Mookie Betts lights up when he sees the Blue Jays uniform. He's 3 for 3 again tonight. Dustin Pedroia grounded into a double play and tapped back to the pitcher's mound. Goins comes after it. 1 at second, double play. Boy, that was a good play by Goins. He came after that slow chopper.
Well, you're absolutely right. He doesn't make that play if he doesn't come in aggressively to catch the ball on the big hop, turns his body, and then feeds Tulowitzki perfectly for the 4-6-3 double play.
Well, what a double play combination, and we have talked about them going all the way back to last season when they teamed up, and they can really turn too. Xander Bogaerts, the number 3 hitter. Bogaerts picked up an RBI on a ground out. Up the middle, base hit. That'll get through and go into center for Bogaerts. Big turn around first. He throws the brakes on and stops. Prior to tonight's game, PlayStation provided us with a prediction of who they thought the Blue Jays player of the game would be. Well, tonight, Pat, they had a pretty good idea. It might be the pitcher.
The show said 6 innings. This looks like his numbers in his last start against the New York Yankees. They were thinking 6 strikeouts. Because he was not very sharp, I think his pitch count got up, and that's why he was only able to get 4 innings, but he did have 4 strikeouts.
The simulation is powered by MLB The Show 16. Welcome to the show, only on PlayStation. David Ortiz, 0 for 2 so far. Boy, he got a nice welcome into the Big O tonight. He handled it perfectly, too. Stepped out of the batter's box and tipped his cap.
Speaking of the show, he put on a show in batting practice tonight for all the fans.
All right, Tepera. He got the news he was going to break with the ball club. He's loosening up down in the bullpen. Little chopper up the first base line, trickles foul. Ortiz, on his birthday last November, announced that the 2016 season will be his final season as a player. That ball was well in front of home plate, and Bogaerts moves up. That curveball that Biagini got on top of it, he buried it right in the dirt. This is a little different atmosphere than the Eastern League last year.
In spring training. But I think that's why the Blue Jays love coming to Montreal and playing in front of what will be a major league type of atmosphere to kick off the season. You get a couple of games and get that feel, and you see young kids come up here. You see them wowed by the whole atmosphere.
Good pitch. Biagini minimizes the impact of a 3-hit inning, just allowing a single run, but the Red Sox have tied it in their half of the fifth. Evening indeed. A lot of ceremonies going on, and right now we are thrilled to be joined by a participant in those pre-game ceremonies, the great Hall of Famer Pedro Martinez. Pedro, welcome to the booth.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a great honor.
Great night, great celebration. It had to be special for you to be honored by these great fans here in Montreal after your time here with the Expos.
Believe it or not, this is the first time I actually got the opportunity to share with the people of Montreal since my departure in '97, and that was a special year. I won the only Cy Young for the Montreal Expos, and I didn't get the opportunity to actually show how much I appreciate them too, because they were the ones that supported me when I was coming up, and they were the foundation to everything I became later on.
You were 20 years old when you came to the Dodgers for the first time, but you made your name starting right here. What was the difference between the young Pedro Martinez and the guy who became the Hall of Famer starting right here?
I would just say it was support. From the first moment I landed in Montreal, I got support from management, from the people. I remember the caravan and the people just lining up to meet me and to make me feel welcome. And also having Felipe say, you don't even have to throw a pitch, you're my fourth starter. And that led me to believe that they believed in me, even though they weren't the one that raised me. And it was the same way all the way. They continued to support me in everything I did.
You had a tremendous organization then at that time. The Montreal Expos were producing players all over the place. But for you, it had to be especially important that Felipe was here. Of course, you both come from the Dominican Republic, and he had seen you before. He knew what you were all about.
Yes, Felipe had the opportunity and gave me the honors to represent the Dominican Republic at a young age in the Caribbean Series. And Felipe got to see a little bit of me in winter ball, which was limited, but Felipe got to see most of it because he was managing Escogido for the Winter League. And that's how he got to know me. Plus, he knew my dad from amateur ball. And he always reminded me that I had a good arm, but my dad had a better arm than I did.
He always reminded you that. The stretch you had, about a 7-year stretch, you led the major leagues in earned run average 5 times. What was it about that? Did you get your great changeup then? Did you get your great curveball? What was it about the blossoming of Pedro Martinez?
I think it was health. It was dedication. I would say health more than anything, because I was really healthy every year. I was really healthy, even though it took a toll on me, because I worked so hard to maintain that small body frame, to prove everybody that I could last what the Dodgers said I wouldn't. And I worked really, really, really hard to maintain my body and be, out there to repeat what I was learning. I was always looking for little, pieces to put together. The head of Maddox, the legs of Clemens, and trying to watch everybody. And I remember asking Felipe if he could match me against the best pitchers in the league so that I could learn from them. And that was really helpful.
That's a tremendous amount of knowledge. When you think back to the Dodger days, and I know you were very small, weighing 135, 140 pounds in the minors. I read a story one time where they threatened to fine you if you were running sprints because you were going to lose weight.
Yes, I almost got myself in really deep trouble because I was told to just hold for like a month or so on the running, and I was always a runner. I could have been a marathoner if I wanted to, but I refused to do that. So at night I would sneak out and go running. So this one day, I guess my coach figured it out, and he told me, don't run, stay here, just eat and and sleep and rest. Yeah, and I said, yeah. When he left,
you're going to run it.
I went right out. And little did I know, he turned around right away, and it says, the next time you go out, your whole salary is going to be off.
The Blue Jays have a player much like you in Marcus Stroman.
Yes.
Smaller stature. Have you seen some of Stroman and how familiar? If you don't mind, would you stay for another half inning?
Yeah, sure.
That would be terrific. The great Pedro Martinez, the Hall of Famer, will be back with us when we come back to Montreal. game, the great Pedro Martinez was welcomed here in Montreal, and it was a tremendous welcome. Certainly first time that Pedro got a chance to really acknowledge the great fans here in Montreal, and we're pleased to be joined by Pedro in the booth now, and this is a special moment for you, I know.
It is a special because I never had the opportunity since I left in '97 to express to the people how I really felt about Montreal and their support. So that was the best moment to actually do it, and right in front of my teammates, ex-teammates, and former legends from here in Montreal.
We talk a little bit about Marcus Stroman at the end of last inning, and he's 5'8", much like you, and I see a lot of similarities in watching as a former catcher. Do you see the same type of resistance he's going to have to meet because he is so small of stature?
You know what? He's a little bit stronger than I was. Even though he's a little shorter, he's not a Lincecum like. But this kid has so much talent. That kid doesn't need to be any taller than that. I got to see him in AA against our team in Portland, and I saw him struggle a little bit. He was flying open, and his slider was a little bit flat, so we had the opportunity to interact a little bit. And then 2 months later, I see him in the big league mowing down the Red Sox, and I asked myself, was it worth it talking to the kid about his mechanics? But I'm extremely happy for him. I totally relate to him, but this kid has as big of a heart as anybody in baseball, and I love watching him pitch. I love watching him pitch.
To come back from the injury that he had last year, the knee injury, and he pitched in the playoffs, and he was outstanding. We were talking about your size, you're small, but one thing that you had big hands.
Yes.
And we got a baseball for everybody to see, and see how the baseball fits in your hands. And you were talking about your fingers. What kind of things, having big hands, what did that help you to do with the baseball?
Well, because I was so flexible, I was able to actually do this kind of things, and when you throw a fastball and it's above 95, normally your fingers would do this, and I was able to do that and hold the ball for longer than the average pitcher.
Look at those fingers bend like that.
And that a lot of people see that as an advantage to actually create rotation, and I was able to also sleep on top of the ball really easy. I could mold my fingers to the ball and just the entire hand.
Yeah.
I stayed in contact for a long time, so I built a little extra rotation than the average person would do.
That's terrific. Now, there are so many highlights in your great career. You're pitching in the postseason, you pitch in Yankee Stadium. Is there a game that stands out for you as the one you're most proud of?
Yes, and it was actually a regular season game where I was told, the only time I was told on the plane, Pedro, I'm going to use the whole bullpen today, because tomorrow you got to go at least 8. And that was against Kansas City, a team that I should have easily dominated. And I went out and gave up 5 in the first inning. But somehow I battled my way around, and I ended up pitching 8 innings and did what I was supposed to do for my teammates and the group of guys that I was picking up that day.
Who was that manager?
Jimmy Williams.
Uh-huh.
Jimmy Williams. But I got to do it, and I'm extremely proud of that game because that was the only moment I got to be responsible for my teammates. And I was told to be responsible for those teammates. And I go out there any other day, giving up 5 in the first, you're out. But that day,
you had to pitch
with it.
How many pitches did you throw? That's what I want to know. Nowadays, you're out.
Oh, no, I had to throw a lot of pitches, and they made it tough for me, but somehow I remained focused, and I was able to do it.
A game that stands out for me was when you came in relief.
Yes.
Talk us about that game. It was 8-8, Cleveland and Boston, and nobody could get anybody out, but you came in relief pitching with a bad back.
A bad shoulder. I had broken a little bit of my lat, and I just went out there with what the players should have nowadays, which is the pride of being a player, and a player that care about their teammates and the effort and appreciated baseball. I thought that was an opportunity for me to do something special in baseball, and I didn't care about my career. I didn't think about it. I didn't hesitate, and I went on to actually save pretty much what was left of the postseason for my team and for Boston.
No hits, 6 innings. That's not too bad.
Not too shabby.
You weren't coming out of that game, were you?
I don't know. As I got closer to the end, I refused to go out, and I knew it was getting tighter, and it was getting more sore, and I knew that I was going to have a hard time afterwards. And I have never been in more pain than I was when the plane reached 20,000 feet. And that was something that I never said because it's supposed to stay inside. But now I think I can.
You can tell us now.
It's all good.
Now, the great moment last year, you go into the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Just the second Dominican player into the Hall of Fame, and probably somebody that you looked up to
Yes.
in Juan Marichal, who went in 1983. How special was that moment for you?
Well, I wasn't the only one that looked up to Marichal. The entire country looks up to Marichal, and I'm still looking up to Marichal. Whether I'm a Hall of Famer or not, Marichal remains the top dog in the Dominican, and the same respect from me as well. It was really special because the city waited so long, producing so many players for the next Hall of Famer. And I'm glad I was the one that actually brought it back, but it's not going to be too long for me to have another hug from another player. Vladdy's coming right behind me.
Oh, yeah.
We mentioned that tonight in talking about Vladdy.
I wanted to ask him about, because I was in the ballpark when this happened. Buck and I were there, the All-Star game in Boston.
Yes.
The strikeouts. What was happening that night?
Well, what was happening was that I was part of probably the most unique All-Star game that will ever be put together, because you're not going to find an All-Star game where it's dedicated to Ted Williams, where you have the legends of baseball.
The all-century team, right?
The all-century team, the ones that led us to become baseball players, all together at once and hugging Ted Williams around. I knew I was committed to Boston because I was representing Boston, but also being part of it, just being there and having Ted Williams give me an autograph after the game. That was my highlight.
It was special.
That was my highlight.
It was very special for sure, but to strike out the side in the first, then you strike out McGuire in the second. It was tremendous, and what a terrific opportunity. We appreciate your time.
Well, Buck, it's always a pleasure.
Congratulations on your wonderful career.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations.
I'm extremely honored.
All right. Pedro Martinez, what a way to cap off a trip to Montreal.
The 2015 AL East Division Championship pennant presented by Honda takes place Sunday, April 10th. The first 20,000 fans will receive a 2015 AL East Division Championship pennant. It's the Blue Jays and Red Sox that afternoon, 1:07 p.m. For more, visit BlueJays.com for tickets. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel May. April 10th, that Division Championship pennant. That's going to be a great weekend as the Blue Jays open up against this same Boston Red Sox ball club. It all starts Friday night. Marcus Stroman will open it up for the Blue Jays at home as well. Stroman's going to throw the opener down in St. Petersburg, and what a pitching matchup, Pat. Chris Archer against
versus Marcus Stroman. What did Pedro tell us when he was leaving after that inning?
Pedro Martinez, who just left the booth after we took our headsets off, said Marcus Stroman is going to be better than I am. That's pretty high standards to live up to.
That's high praise right there. Wow.
What a great opportunity to interview a terrific pitcher and a great person. You could hear the reverence he had for Juan Marichal, the Hall of Famer. Great pitcher for the San Francisco Giants that went into the Hall of Fame in 1983.
That was a lot of fun. The last inning talking to him.
That's the beauty of our job, Mr. Tabler. You have to meet these great ball players, whether they're still playing or not. Troy Tulowitzki, 0 for 2 so far. Swings and misses. Stephen Wright has settled down nicely. He gave up home runs to start the bottom of the first and the bottom of the second, but nothing since. It's 2-2 as we are in the bottom of the sixth. Fouled off the catcher's glove. Blue Jay fans have a lot of anticipation for the upcoming 2016 season, largely due to this guy's presence for a full year.
Yeah, he's one of the leaders on the Blue Jays, and in spring training you would see him. He would gather the infielders and they do some extra work. He was always in the cage. You know what? You're not going to outwork Troy Tulowitzki, and that kind of attitude just rubs off on everybody else, and the young kids and everybody gets behind him. It's a special player.
How many years have we talked about the star players? When you have your star players leading in the exercises and in the drills, it's hard for anybody else not to follow suit. Another strikeout for Wright. That's 7 tonight.
You know, we saw that recently when Derek Jeter was with the New York Yankees, the face of the team. And you know, if the veteran and the all-star and the World Series hero and everything else can go out there and get his work in, and he's the hardest worker and he's the model citizen of your team, you can't help but do the right thing. You had a chance to work with George, play with George Brett. He was the same thing with George.
You know, when your stars play hard, everybody else has to do the same. Chris Colabello hacks at the first pitch. Blue Jays have 5 hits. Red Sox have out hit them 8-5, but the Blue Jays have connected for a couple of long balls. In case you're just joining us, Kevin Pillar started it off leading off the bottom of the first with a long home run to left, and then Michael Saunders led off the second with a deep home run to straightaway center. Colabello gets a base hit. A 1-1 pitch ripped into center. Play the Game is brought to you by Scott's Turf Builder Grass Seed with Water Smart Plus coating. Grows grass quicker and thicker. Guaranteed.
Top of the second inning, Michael Saunders is going to lead off. 3-1 pitch. It's a fastball right down the middle, and he doesn't miss it. It's going to be his 4th home run of the spring to dead center field as Jackie Bradley Jr. runs out of real estate. Michael Saunders has had 2 very good at-bats tonight.
It's good news for the Blue Jays and great news for Michael Saunders. He's healthy, having a good spring. Saunders was thrown out trying to stretch a single into the double. There goes the runner, and the ball is in the dirt. John Birdie took over as a pinch runner for Colabello, excuse me, and he steals second.
Show off what you can do, especially against a knuckleball pitcher. You got to get yourself into scoring position, and John Birdie does that.
1 out now. Fouled right at home plate. We talk about the Blue Jay regular players getting some extra energy from this atmosphere. How about the minor leaguers that were summoned back from the minor league camp to join the team here in Montreal?
We've had a chance the last couple of seasons to watch some of the minor leaguers come up here and get a taste of what big league baseball is all about. One name that comes to mind is now going to be in the starting rotation for the Blue Jays. That was Aaron Sanchez. You remember what he did the first year the Blue Jays were here playing the New York Mets?
Yeah, he ramped up the 2-game series on Saturday afternoon by striking out the side in the 9th inning. And he had just let everybody know that he wasn't going to be too long before he gets a regular spot on this Blue Jays ball club. You know, I walked down to the locker room after that inning, and Aaron was tucking in his shirt after he had finished dressing, and he looked across the room and he winked at me.
What was he, 21 then?
Yeah, how about that? Another foul off the catcher.
But you're right, minor leaguers coming up here, hey, let's show the brass and all of Canada and the coaches and everybody what you can do in a setting that's big league all the way.
Well, and the thing is, there are only 28 active major leaguers that were playing when the Expos were in existence. David Ortiz being one of those. That gets away from the catcher, and Saunders will go toward first. Birdie has to hold on at second. Another strikeout for Stephen Wright.
Well, there's only one active former Expo player still playing, right?
The Blue Jays had an Expo that retired in spring training. Meiser Asturias, who's the only active Expo.
Didn't the Blue Jays just see him the other day? Bartolo Colon. I know Troy Tulowitzki saw him up close and personal. Bartolo Colon, the last Expo, still in the big leagues.
Russell Martin gets another warm reception.
Although I'd have to admit, Pedro Martinez looks like he could still pitch.
How about that?
Doesn't he?
He's 44 years old.
He looks great.
Terrific. Pitched his last game in the World Series in 2009 for the Philadelphia Phillies.
That 5-year stretch you and I were talking about, he won 3 Cy Youngs, and how many times did he finish second?
He finished second in the one year when he had that stretch of 3 straight Cy Youngs. Bobbled by Bogarts. Birdie rounded third, but gets back safely. That'll be a hit for Russell Martin. Bogarts trying to backhand it, had to kick off his glove.
Would have been a close play over at first base. Russell Martin wanting to do something special in front of the hometown folks. Hits this ball right in the hole between shortstop and third base. Bogarts alertly tries to get the young runner Birdie rounding the bag, so it will go as a hit for Martin, and he is finished tonight.
So Russell Martin has another good return to Montreal. John Farrell will make a pitching change here. Stephen Wright had a good night's work. He leaves with the game tied 2-2. 2 runners on base are his responsibility.
your passion for Canada's team. Visit any Rogers retail location to sign the Blue Jays fan board and have your message included in the Players Tunnel at Rogers Center. Visit RogersCelebrates.com for details.
Very interesting night here in Montreal, and you can see the Blue Jay fans there out in droves. This is Robbie Ross Jr. He made 54 appearances a year ago for the Red Sox. He's on in relief of the starter, Stephen Wright.
One of the lefties in the bullpen for the Boston Red Sox. There are his numbers in 54 games. He's already pitched in 9 games in spring training. Situational lefty. Won't really finish off innings, but he will turn Justin Smoke around. Here in the 6th inning, he throws hard. Got a good fastball and a late breaking slider. Probably will just finish off this inning right here.
Justin Smoke had a double to the opposite field against Wright, batting as a left-handed batter. Runners at the corners. Pinch runner at first is David Adams. There's that off-speed pitch. Adams, an infielder, plays all over the diamond. He and John Birdie both with the Blue Jays throughout spring training. Popped in the air down the right field line, and Mookie Betts gets over there. Betts will play right field this year after spending most of his time in center a year ago. Robbie Ross gets out of the bottom of the 6th.
When the Expos promoted him to the job midway through the 1988 season. Now, as GM in Montreal, Dombrowski made it a point to immerse himself into the culture, taking French lessons on weekends during the season and then in the winter in order to communicate better with the media. Dombrowski says his French today is okay, but not as good as before. As for returning to the city, he says it brought back a lot of great memories. He actually took a jog through his old neighborhood in Montreal earlier this morning. He said he thought about all the great players he had during his tenure and the great times, Buck, he had taking in Montreal Canadian hockey games as well as the Quebec Nordiques.
Dave Dombrowski's had quite a career in the front office, and it all started in 1978 with the Chicago White Sox under Roland Heumann. New pitcher for the Blue Jays is Will Browning.
Pitched in a couple of levels last year at A-ball and then got to Double-A. So his 44 games, you can see 186 earned run average, and he was the closer in both of those spots. He's a sidewinder, comes from down under. Lots of wholesale changes for the Blue Jays this inning.
Gio Myers at short. You saw Josh Tolley behind the plate as the regulars are done for the rest of the night. What a night for Michael Saunders, and we're pleased to be joined with Michael down in the dugout. Michael, congratulations on a good night here in Montreal.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
Michael, talk a little bit about what it's like when you're down in spring training for 6 weeks. You're playing day games, and then the next thing you know, you come into this atmosphere in a big league ballpark. Just get you fired up, doesn't it?
Absolutely, especially with the electric atmosphere that's here right now. It's incredible. Clearly baseball belongs in Montreal. It's an absolute privilege to play here. I missed the trip last year, but I heard so many good things about it, and it certainly gets you ready for opening day in spring training.
Michael, how do you feel now? Obviously, after the disappointment of last spring training, you must be thrilled with the way things have gone for you this spring.
Yeah, I'm healthy. That's the major thing. My knee's healthy. It feels great. I was coming in spring training, obviously a little bit nervous, not so much about my health, but just getting back on the horse again and putting a big league uniform on. And, I've told everyone all spring that it's honestly felt like my first big league camp all over again. And I'm just excited. I'm thankful. I'm appreciative of being healthy, and I'm really looking forward to the upcoming season.
Was there anything this spring that you worked on offensively? Let's start there, offensively with your swing. Showing some pop this spring.
I just think, once again, I'm healthy. I have my back leg behind me now, and my legs are underneath me, and that's a big part of your swing. And you talk about power, that's a big part of where your power generates from, is from the ground up. And not so much, working on things, just, trying to see a lot of pitches, get my timing back. That was a question for me. It wasn't so much my mechanics. It was or seeing the ball, for that matter. It was more so getting on time, being on time. And I was thankful to see a lot of lefties early in camp as well, and I think that got me right for facing some right-handers.
Well, your second at bat, I thought the base hit the left field was as fine a piece of hitting that I've ever seen. What were you trying to do there?
Not too much. Knuckleball, you can't do too much. The ball will jump off your bat if you catch it right. And I think when you try to overswing, that's when you get yourself into trouble. He's got a lot of movement, obviously. And, in the season, Gibby is definitely replaying that, and I'm safe, and you know it.
Oh, for sure. You were safe, big guy.
We knew you were safe when we saw it.
No, that's fine. I'm just happy to put a good swing on it.
Michael, growing up in BC, did you root for the Expos?
I was a big Jays fan. I definitely, it was hard not to root for the Expos with the talent that was on that team. It was really exciting to watch. And, but I obviously saw a lot more Jays, after the Expos left, unfortunately. And I touched on it earlier. This crowd shows you that they want the Expos back. And baseball belongs in Montreal, and this atmosphere is just electric. And, I was just a fan of Canada more so than anything, and whichever team was playing in there at the time.
Hester Madera takes a strike. Michael, you missed out last year, obviously, but now you've been back with the team. You've seen the chemistry change on this ball club. How important in your mind is that?
We got a cameo. We got a guest here. This is the guest of honor in Montreal right now. Sorry, I completely missed that question, Buck.
That's quite all right. This is live TV. We can do whatever you want. There's the cameo guy, right? Russell Martin.
It's the celebrity.
Boy, he's
celebrity.
A star, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Now, I was talking to you about the chemistry of this ball club. You guys have really worked hard, but you've also had a lot of fun all spring long. How does that chemistry help you as a team looking forward to this season?
Yeah, I think it was a snowball effect from last year. This team put up an incredible second half. I wasn't able to be a part of it, unfortunately, but I sat in the dugout for a lot of the games and wanted to be, a part of this club. And it was a lot of fun to watch. This is, a really talented club, obviously. For us, it's World Series or bust. And, I think it starts with the mentality. There's a lot of veteran guys on this team. We're taking the momentum that we had last second half of the year. And we have a lot of fun into the clubhouse, but as soon as we step between those lines, it's business, and everyone comes to play. And, this is obviously a really talented ball club.
You don't put a lot of, I know as players, you don't want to start thinking of expectations, but this year, you got the bullseye on your back. You're the defending American League Eastern champion, a little bit tougher. Do the players talk about that, or is it business as usual?
Just business as usual, and I think that comes with having such a veteran clubhouse and the leadership we have in this clubhouse. We know that we're the big dogs in the East this year, and I think we've earned that right. But we have fun running with that. You know what I mean? We, like I said, there's a lot of leadership. You know, we're not putting too high expectations on ourselves to go out there and do it all by ourselves on any given night. That's the beauty of this team is when one guy has an off night, anyone else can step up. And, you know, 1 through 9, it's a dangerous lineup. We acquired some good pitching this offseason. You know, we're just excited to go. And like I said, we have a lot of fun in the clubhouse. We have a lot of fun during batting practice, but as soon as we step between the lines, it's business time.
Michael, congratulations on a great spring. Good luck. Thanks for your time tonight.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
To face the Red Sox.
He has shown good control in his time in his 6 games and 5 innings for the Blue Jays this spring. He throws about 3/4 from the side, throws a lot of strikes, sweeps that breaking ball in there, but he will face a pinch hitter. John Gibbons hoping to get David Ortiz, who's going to get himself a right-hander.
Pablo Sandoval, the switch hitting third baseman, who has been notified that he will not start at third base to begin the season for the Red Sox. Sandoval in his 2nd season after signing a big contract as a free agent coming from San Francisco.
Just had a brutal year last year for the Boston Red Sox, offensively, defensively. He's a good player. You hear the rumors now this spring about possibly moving on, and if Travis Shaw is going to be their everyday third baseman. Sandoval is a proven major leaguer.
He's had home runs seasons of 25 and 23, both coming with the Giants. Hit 25 home runs and drove in 90 runs in 2009. Last year, he gave up hitting as a right-handed hitter and hit strictly from the left side of the plate.
Because things went so sideways for him last season. Right-handed, he said his swing was just so messed up, but he felt coming into this year that he's a better ball player by being a switch hitter, so he's going to give it a go one more time.
Strike on the corner. Sandoval had a terrific World Series in 2014. He hit .429 in 7 games. 12 for 28. He had 3 doubles and drove in 4. But John Farrell, the manager, said he went with a straight competition, and Travis Shaw won that in the spring. Dorado strikes out the pinch hitter Pablo Sandoval, and we'll go to the bottom of the 7th. It's still a 2-2 game.
in 4K with captivating detail and 4 times the resolution of HD. Every play comes to life. Sportsnet brings you Sportsnet 4K and will also be in 4K tomorrow as this series concludes. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. The 81 home games in 4K. Make sure you check it out, and a chance to really get up close, especially on those slow motion replays. This is Gio Meyer, who has taken over at shortstop. Meyer was signed as a minor league free agent from the Houston Astros organization. He was a former #1 pick of the Astros.
Will begin the season in Buffalo. I think that's some of the depth that Mark Shapiro was talking to us about earlier tonight, about trying to build some depth, especially at Buffalo. There were so many trades over the last few seasons by the Blue Jays that they emptied the farm system. So they had to build some depth back up.
There's a leadoff walk. Robbie Ross Jr. came in to close out the bottom of the 6th. He stays in the ball game. Back to the top of the order. This is Roman Fields, who took over defensively in center field. Ross looked at second. He goes to first, and Hanley Ramirez missed the bag. Tim Leeper, the first base coach, waved safe as Ramirez was struggling to locate the bag with his foot. Looked like he missed it.
First basemen are taught, find the bag first. That's the first thing you're supposed to do. I thought Robbie Ross had a shot at getting the runner at second base. You can see Ramirez right there. There's Ross taking a look at second base, but elects to go over to first base, but Hanley's not there.
Well, he got his foot on the bag, but boy, was it bang bang. Leeper, you can see the first base coach with his arms extended, hoping to get that safe call.
Find the bag first.
Going to be interesting. Play first base every day in the big leagues. There are a lot of different plays you can't replicate in spring training.
Well, what's going to help Hanley, he's a former infielder. He played shortstop. He played some third base. Now he's going to be in the infield. But you are involved in a lot of plays. Trying to find the bag. He doesn't find it, and then right at the last second touches it. That one might have been reviewed.
Yeah, that would have been one they send up to the review booth. Andy Burns getting his first at bat. Burns had a good spring. He played in 23 games and played all over the diamond for John Gibbons. Had 39 at bats. He went 12 for 39. That's the .308 average. It's a 2-2 ball game. Bottom of the 7th. Backdoor breaking ball catches Burns looking.
That's that late breaker from Robbie Ross that finishes off Andy Burns. Little backdoor breaking ball. Tough to give up on this one. You got to recognize the spin and somehow just try and foul that ball off.
Looks like it might have been up, but the borderline call goes in Ross's favor. 2 down now. Ezequiel Carrera took over in right field for Jose Bautista. Carrera won the job out of spring training as the 4th outfielder. You got to believe a lot of that went on what he did for the Blue Jays a year ago. Fouls off that pitch down and away.
Well, he had some good at bats for the Blue Jays last year, especially late in the year. Came up with some big hits. He would be called on to pinch hit, and I remember some at bats. They were tough at bats against elite relief pitchers, and somehow he would find his way on at first base. And he's got enough speed that you could use him as a pinch runner also late in a ball game.
Carrera hit .273 for the regular season a year ago, and he had 26 RBIs. He has played with Cleveland, Philadelphia, Detroit, and now the Blue Jays. His second season with the Jays. Off-speed pitch, hits the bag. Ramirez swings at it and misses it, and the ball's still bouncing around. That'll be a base hit for Carrera. Hit right on the bag, popped in the air, and Hanley Ramirez swiped at it, but all they got was air.
Well, that ball seems to find you wherever you're playing. It's a tough play for the first baseman. You don't know if you should go out there and try and attack the ball and get it before it hits the base, or you just lay back, hope that the ball hits the bag and bounces right to you. This time it takes a 45-degree bounce away from Ramirez, and he can't come up with it, and Carrera's got himself an infield hit.
2 out, runners at the corners. Darwin Barney will bat for the first time. He came into the game defensively at second base. Barney had a fast start to his spring. He had a 5 RBI game in his first game against the Phillies. He drove in 7 runs all spring long. 5 of them came in his first outing.
I was talking to him today about that. He said, you know, I wish I'd have a little bit more consistency. I had such a good start, wanted to do that. He said, you want to be consistent, especially the type of player that I am. I'm an extra player. I'm going to come off the bench, and you don't want too many highs or too many lows. Just stay consistent, and when you get ready for the season, you want to be on an upward incline.
Well, and the problem for guys like Carrera and Barney, as you look forward to opening day, is they're not going to be many at bats. You have to get in most of your work in spring training because the regulars aren't going to miss too much time in the first month of the season. There goes Carrera. No throw as Meyer holds his ground at third. Carrera gets the stolen base. Now they're a shoot in scoring position.
They weren't even, the Red Sox weren't even covering at second base. You can see the middle infielders, no one's there. They're going to give Carrera that base just in case the Blue Jays are going to try the double steal.
There's that backdoor breaking ball twice this inning. Robbie Rouse has painted that outside corner for strikeouts. Blue Jays leave him there.
Was granted exclusive access to Roberto Osuna in his hometown of Sinaloa, Mexico this offseason. Learn how Roberto avoided the incredible danger that surrounded him growing up and how he defied the odds to become a major part of the Blue Jays bullpen at the age of 20. Don't forget, that's tomorrow following our Red Sox Blue Jays game live from Olympic Stadium.
We want to remind you, fans, make sure you check that out. Stephen Rudd has done a terrific job with all of these documentaries, but the Osuna one is really special, and that's a great way to start your season. So after our game tomorrow, make sure you stay tuned and check out the story of Roberto Osuna and his climb to the major leagues. An interesting young man.
We got to Montreal yesterday about 4 or 5 o'clock, and I got into the hotel and I was able to turn on Sportsnet, and Stephen Brunt was on with Ivanka on the Tim and Sid show, and they showed us a snippet of that special, and it was really good. I mean, really good. They did a great job on that, so don't miss it.
Hanley Ramirez has gone the distance for the Red Sox. Chad Girardo, pitching for the Blue Jays, is the 5th pitcher to work here tonight for Toronto. Girardo, the senior sign out of Mississippi State. He made the adjustment to his sidearm delivery as a senior. Big hop for the shortstop Meyer. Ramirez 0 for 1 for 3. He had a single in the 6th.
I think he opened up some eyes this spring, showed that he can throw strikes. That's the #1 thing that Pete Walker demands from his relievers. You better come in and you better throw strikes.
Well, especially with this Blue Jays defense, when the regular defense is out there, it's terrific. And why not throw strikes, put the ball in play, and give them a chance to help you. We spoke to Josh Donaldson about how this team takes pride in their defense, and he's encouraged pitchers to put the ball in play. Trust us, we'll help you out.
Keep the ball down. Get the other team to swing it. If they get it on the ground, chances are it's going to be an out.
Travis Shaw, the 3rd baseman, he's 0 for 3 so far with a strikeout. Look out. That looked like it hit the umpire. I don't think Tolley got a piece of it, and Shaw had to jump back, but appeared like the ball went all the way through and hit the umpire. Just off the catcher's glove and hit the umpire in that right knee. 1 and 2, 1 out. We're in the top half of the 8th inning. Darwin Barney from shallow right. Casey Kotzman came into the ball game at first base. He's another one of those veteran players that adds depth to the system. He'll play first at Buffalo.
At Buffalo, a lot of success in the major leagues in his career. One other thing he's going to bring, besides talent down there, he's going to bring some veteran leadership to some of those young players in Buffalo.
Well, the Blue Jays have prepared themselves for a lot of what ifs. What if we lose a first baseman? What if we lose Donaldson? They've got Matt Dominguez, who was an everyday 3rd baseman for the Astros. Good defender.
Or David Adams also.
Yeah.
Adams here on the trip. He's playing 3rd base now.
Chris Young, left fielder, 1 for 3. Young getting an opportunity to face another left-hander. He started because Jay Happ began. But John Gibbons feels much better about the team at this point this year than he did last spring.
6 rookies. 6 rookies made the team out of spring training last year, so there was a lot of question marks heading into 2015. Can't say that now.
Blue Jay players are chomping at the bit. They want this season to get started. Driven to center field. Roman Fields is there. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th, and now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zong. former Montreal Expos were introduced, Tim Raines, and then Vladdy Guerrero gets a warm reception with a packed house here at the Big O. And finally, how about the Hall of Famer, Pedro Martinez, with that number 45, the number that the Red Sox retired, gets a welcome back to Montreal. And Pat, he told us during his interview that it was the first time he got a chance to express his thoughts about how well he was received here in Montreal by the Expo fans.
Won his first Cy Young Award here in Montreal, and he never got a chance because he was then traded after that. Never had a chance to thank the fans for what they meant to him in his time here. And he had a great speech at the beginning saying, you know, the mayor, he called out the mayor, said, Mayor, I know you're in the stands here. Get Major League Baseball back here to Montreal. What a wonderful guy.
Noe Ramirez will be the third Red Sox pitcher to work here tonight. Ramirez, you saw his numbers from a year ago. Ramirez pitched in 10 games this spring down in Florida. Pitched to a 150 earned run average. Did a nice job for Boston in the spring. He pitched against the Blue Jays on the 11th of March. Went 2 innings, allowed just 1 hit, no runs, walked a couple, and struck out 2.
Very high on this arm. This is Rowdy Tellez, who will pitch hit for John Birdie. But the Red Sox are very high on Ramirez. Very aggressive. He's going to throw a lot of strikes.
Rowdy Tellez hits it to center field. The youngster flies out. Tellez, just 21 years old, makes the first out of the bottom of the 8th. Came on as a pinch hitter. Tellez was batting for the DH, John Birdie, who came in to run for Chris Colabello. This is Josh Tolley. Took over for Russell Martin behind the plate. Tolley had a pretty good spring. I think the one number that stands out in my mind from Tolley was the fact he had 3 doubles. He made up his mind to try to get a little more oomph in his swing.
Made a little bit of a change, lowered his hands. It was a process for him during spring training. He wanted to really start yanking the ball and start getting some extra base pop in that bat. So when you're called upon, he's going to catch R.A. Dickey. And that's probably going to be it. So 1 time every 5 days. So when you get your chance to catch, let's see if I can do some damage offensively to help my team.
Saw the Russell Martin jersey prominent in this crowd tonight. Tolley takes a hack at that nasty pitch down and away. The way the rotation is set up, Marcus Stroman will start on Sunday against Chris Archer in the Tampa Bay Rays. Then Monday night, it'll be R.A. Dickey, so Tolley will be the starter in game 2.
And he'll get a lefty. I think Drew Smiley is scheduled to start for the Tampa Bay Rays, so you can't pick who you hit against. Smiley's been great for Tampa too this spring.
Chopped up the first baseline. That is a foul ball as Ramirez got to it just as it trickled into foul ground. Boston Red Sox trying to rebound from back-to-back last place finishes in the AL East. Blue Jays, of course, the reigning champions of the East. And Pat, it looks to be a pretty tightly contested division this season.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think everybody has improved. The Rays, they're going to have all their pitchers come back at some point this year. They might have the best pitching staff in the division. The Red Sox went out there and spent some big money on some free agents this winter to try and improve their position in the standings.
Tolley strikes out. The ball's in the dirt. And the throw to first to complete the strikeout.
And the Yankees today named CC Sabathia as their 5th starter.
Well, the Yankees got a scare a couple of days ago when Andrew Miller got hit on a line drive, hit him on the right wrist, and he suffered a fractured bone in his wrist, but he says he's going to pitch with it. Of course, it's not his pitching yet.
Right, it was on his right hand. And same game they lost Brian Mitchell, who looked so good against the Blue Jays last Saturday.
Mitchell had a foot injury, had a fractured toe, I believe, and he'll be on the disabled list, and it's like a significant amount of time, 6 to 8 weeks, I think.
I think it was even longer. I heard like 3 or 4 months. Unbelievable.
Bad timing for the Yankees for sure. This is David Adams. Adams entered the game in the 6th as a pinch runner for Russell Martin. He's taken over at third base. Adams during the spring appeared in 18 games for the Blue Jays. He hit .355 and went 11 for 31. Ramirez has a good arm. We saw him a couple of times last year pitch against the Blue Jays. He's got a little zip on his fastball.
Tough on righties. He's got a very good breaking ball. We saw it on that check swing from David Adams. Looks like it might be the changeup.
Full count. Ball 4. A 2-out walk here in the bottom of the 8th. It's a 2-2 game. Both of these teams have brought a full complement of players for this 2-game series. Of course, they have whittled down to their 25-man rosters, and they have a lot of minor leaguers with them on this trip.
You see how many pitchers the Boston Red Sox brought? Almost takes up the whole page.
Casey Kochman getting his first at bat. Kochman can hit. We have seen that in the spring. He handles the bat very well. This popped up into shallow center. Easy play for Jackie Bradley Jr. We've played 8 complete here in Montreal. It's a 2-2 ball game.
Sportsnet Pacific and Vancouver hockey. Stay tuned for the Canucks and the Ducks. And should this ball game go past the top of the hour, you can catch the beginning of it on Sportsnet Vancouver hockey. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And it has been quite an interesting evening here in Montreal. We had a chance to visit with the CEO and president of the Toronto Blue Jays, Mark Shapiro. Then Pedro Martinez joined us in the booth. New pitcher for the Blue Jays is David Aardsma, the veteran.
Former Boston Red Sox. We'll get to face his former team there as Aardsma has been out of the game for a couple of seasons. 5 games this spring for the Blue Jays. He did not make the team in the bullpen. Sent down to the minor leagues, accepted that, and now will be that depth, if you will, in Buffalo this summer.
Aardsma pitched for the Red Sox in 2008, appeared in 47 games, got a 4-2 record. 2-2 ball game. Inside pitch from Aardsma. Trying to keep up with all of the changes. Ryan Mayer is the batter. He's an outfielder. So he's popped up behind home into the seats. Another souvenir for this good crowd. 91 games a year ago in AAA. Breaking ball catches the inside corner. These people have a lot of fun when they turn out for these exhibition series. This is the 3rd time the Blue Jays have been here in Montreal. There's another good breaking ball and a strikeout for Aardsma.
Aardsma, when he was younger, threw very hard, but he also complemented that with a very good breaking ball, and he threw a couple of them there to the rookie Lemaire. Right over the top. Look at the spin on that baseball. And he threw it in a good spot to pick up the strikeout.
The batter is Alan Craig. Inside fastball. Craig was a very good player with the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Red Sox picked him up, and he just hasn't been able to put it together.
He was a 300 hitter, drove in 90. I think he had a season where he drove in 100 runs for the St. Louis Cardinals, but it just hasn't happened since he has come to Boston and did not make the team. He's actually sent back down to the minor leagues.
He had 2 100 RBI seasons while playing in St. Louis, 13 and 14. Check that. He had 2 seasons of driving in 90. He drove in 92 runs in 2012 and 97 in 2013.
And his go-to power was to right center field.
He was an all-star for the Cardinals in 2013. Just hasn't been able to put things together. This is his 3rd season in the Red Sox organization. And with Boston, he's played a total of 65 games. He's at 139.
That's a long fall, isn't it? From a 300 hitter down to the 100s.
In 5 years in St. Louis, he had 291. So Aardsma strikes out the first batter and walks the second. Jay Happ started. He was followed by Joe Biagini, Ryan Tepera, Will Browning, Chad Girardo, and now David Aardsma. Happ went 4 innings, allowed a run on 4 hits, walked 2, and struck out 4. He capped off a very good spring, and he will pitch game 4 of the season, the afternoon game in St. Petersburg against the Rays. That's Wednesday afternoon. Popped into shallow right field. Carrera comes in. He's there, and that's the second out of the inning.
schedule worked out nice for the Blue Jays, didn't it, with that off day? Now after the Tampa series, before the home opener against the Boston Red Sox?
Well, that part of it's great. You get a little chance to regroup after a day game in Tampa Bay. But this trip became a challenge for John Gibbons and the team because the original opening day was Monday on the 4th of April. ESPN chose the game to broadcast it on opening day, so they moved the game to Sunday afternoon.
So you play here on Saturday, and I think teams leaving right after the game, heading right back down to Tampa. And then a quick turnaround for a 4 o'clock afternoon game on Sunday. But they get the off day in between those series, and that allows them to skip that 5th starter. They don't need them till the Boston series.
Yeah, he'll make that start on the 10th. That'll be Marco Estrada. This is Josh Rutledge getting his first at bat. Rutledge took over for Dustin Pedroia at second base. Three balls and a strike, 2 outs. That's ball 4. That'll push Craig to second base. 2 walks in the inning issued by Ardsman. That'll bring Brock Holt to the plate. Brock Holt had a terrific season a year ago. He is Mr. Utility for the Red Sox, and he'll play every day somewhere. They'll find a spot for him. He's an all-star.
What makes him valuable is he can play the infield and the outfield. Looks like he's going to open the season in the outfield. In left field, share that with Chris Young or Rusney Castillo. I'll tell you what he's going to do. He's going to give you tough at-bats. This is not the guy you really want to face with the go-ahead run at second base and 2 outs.
Yeah, he'll put the bat on the ball. In the outfield, the Blue Jays have Burns, Fields, and Carrera from left to right. That ball is driven to the alley, but Carrera's going to get there and makes the catch. Holt retired. The Red Sox stranded pair in the top of the 9th. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th.
Spring Training Getaway Contest. For a chance to win, purchase an eligible Old Dutch bag of potato chips and enter the UPC code at bluejays.com/Old Dutch Contest. One lucky fan will win a trip to Blue Jay spring training in Dunedin, Florida in 2017. Your prize includes tickets, airfare, and hotel. Full contest rules for you at bluejays.com/Old Dutch Contest. Buck.
Hazel, it's hard to fathom spring training 2017. We're just wrapping up this year. But it's a great opportunity to see the Blue Jays up close and personal in spring training, so make sure you sign up. Matt Barnes will come on to face the Blue Jays here in the bottom of the ninth.
There are Barnes' numbers last year. He went up and down from AAA to the major leagues in 32 games. 3-4 with a 544 earned run average. And you see some funny things in spring training, don't you? Matt Barnes going to come in here. He's going to be the 4th pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. And he wasn't real sure if he was going to be in or out.
Yeah, a lot of switches, obviously, at this point of spring training. But Matt Barnes came in from center field. And look at the pitcher coming out from the dugout. That's Noe Ramirez, who finished the bottom of the 8th inning. He says, okay, I'm ready for the 9th. Picked up the baseball and then looked into the dugout and said, hey, Noe,
come on back.
You're out of there, big boy.
And here comes Matt Barnes.
There's Barnes coming in from center field, and Noe Ramirez flips the ball back toward the dirt. Only in spring training. This is Richard Urania pinch hitting. And here's Ramirez. David Price right there at the top of the step said, hey, nice half inning, man.
That was the easiest half inning you're ever going to have, Mr. Ramirez.
Richard Urania. Splitting time last year from Lansing and Dunedin, and he can hit. He gets the leadoff single.
You know, one thing that they have seen from Urania, this guy can really play. He's a switch hitter. He doesn't look out of place in a major league uniform on this team. It's a curveball from Barnes, and he goes down and gets it. Look at the head straight down on that baseball. And he leads off the 9th inning with a single, and he can run too.
Urania got into just 9 games in Florida. He was 3 for 15, hit 200. But he gets a leadoff single in this tie game in the 9th.
Fields bunted last time up in the 7th inning. This is Roman Fields after leadoff walk to Gio Meyer. Tried to drag a bunt. Looked like he might have been safe at first base.
There goes the runner. The hit and run is on. Strong throw from Sandy Leon, and he is out. Sandy Leon made a strong throw. What a quick release he had, and he guns down Urania trying to steal.
Urania did not have a very big lead because the hit and run was on. It's the batter's job to get a piece of that. As the runner, you got to make sure you don't get thrown out, or excuse me, you don't get picked off at first base. So you can see from that lead, it wasn't very aggressive. He was counting on Fields making contact with that baseball, but he came up empty.
Fields chases that pitch outside. It's 0-2. Upstairs for a ball. Pete Walker, the pitching coach, boy, he's had a fun spring. He's had a lot of new guys to work with, like David Ardsman. But he's also had a very full roster of talent. Breaking ball, that's a fair ball. Base hit for Fields. Shaw took the ball on the backhand. It took him into foul ground. He had no play.
Even if he did, they weren't going to throw him out. He just runs too well. Pretty good 2-strike approach right there. Breaking ball from Barnes, just slapped at it. cuts down the swing, just slaps at it, keeps it fair. The one thing that Shaw did was catch it, keep the ball on the infielder. That's a double.
Andy Burns, the left fielder, looks like he wants to run. He draws the throw from Barnes.
Much more aggressive lead over there at first base by Fields. The difference between the hit and run with Urena at first base and now a threat to steal with Fields. Look at that, 1 foot on the carpet. That's a good lead.
Coming up after this ball game, if it ends right now, and if not, but coming up after the game, Sportsnet Central coming up on Sportsnet, and Sportsnet Pacific, it'll feature Canucks hockey. So a lot more coming up after this game here on the Friday night. Fields got a great jump. Leon's throw is in the dirt and knocked down. I think that might have hit Fields. Boy, he got a terrific jump at first and steals second.
Last season, 46 stolen bases in the minor leagues for Roman Fields, and you can see he got a good aggressive lead. You knew he was going to try and get himself into scoring position. Straight steal, even with a good throw, they weren't going to get him.
The ball hit Fields in the back after taking a hop in the dirt. You can see the ball hit him right between the numbers, but he's in scoring position. He represents the winning run. Better keep an eye on him at second as well. There he goes. Umpire saying, show me the ball. That's Marvin Hudson. Fields slid into the tag of the third baseman, and now the delayed call. There's another example of a play that's going to be reviewed in the regular season, but Shaw put the glove right in front of the bag.
And let that runner slide right into you. A strong throw from Sandy Leon that time. That was right on the mark. And it had to be, or Fields was going to be safe. Watch it one more time. Right there. You put the glove down and he slides right into it. That's what you want to do as an infielder. Catch the ball, put the glove right in front of the bag. That's where the runners come. Let them slide right into the back of your hand.
Good tag by Shaw. So two runners thrown out here by Sandy Leon. Shaw took that throw and went right to the front of the base. He didn't try to tag the base runner.
No. You put it right in front of the bag, the backhand, the back of your glove, and let him slide right into it.
Leon, the catcher, made a strong throw because you see that terrific jump right behind the pitcher's mound, and you have a tendency to rush that throw, but he was patient yet quick at the same time.
First thing you want to do, get to the bag. That's exactly what he does, but look at him. See how we zoom in right there so you can see close up how he got that glove down and the runner slid right into him.
The new 4K technology will really enhance those slow motion replays, and it will clear up the shot when you stop the action. 2-2 pitch in the dirt. Matt Barnes, working here in the ninth, has given up 2 singles and has 2 outs and nobody on.
Thank you, Sandy Leon. Behind the plate.
Clay Buchholz, he'll start game 2 for the Red Sox. They need a big year from Buchholz.
Talking to some of the Red Sox today, they said that's the key to the pitching staff. Clay Buchholz, if he stays healthy, he can give you plenty of innings. He'll be a nice compliment to David Price, who is standing right next to him.
When Clay Buchholz stays healthy, he can really pitch. Cut on and foul tipped as Andy Burns strikes out. We've played 9 innings. It's a 2-2 ball game. A little extra inning action here in Montreal.
Reminder, NHL action for you. It's the Canucks and Ducks on right now over on Sportsnet Vancouver Hockey.
Little late night action for the young ones here in Montreal. Extra innings as we move to the top half of the 10th inning. It's a 2-2 game. The hits are even at 10 apiece. No one has booted it. The Blue Jays have struck out 12 times tonight. Started with the knuckleballer. Stephen Wright went 5 2/3. He allowed 2 runs on 7 hits, walked a batter, and struck out 8. This is Patrick McCoy, left-handed pitcher, into the ball game to start the 10th. Pablo Sandoval entered the game as a pinch hitter. Pinch hit for David Ortiz in the 7th and struck out against Chad Gerardo.
The spot in the batting order for the Boston Red Sox hasn't been very good tonight.
0 for 4 with 3 Ks. Bouncing ball towards short, Urania. Nice play by the young shortstop. Another good turnout tonight from the fans here in Montreal. 50,682. The Blue Jays have really packed them in as the fans just showing their support for baseball. Another good crowd. We'll be right back here tomorrow afternoon. Game time 1 p.m. Lots of K's on that scorebook.
The average attendance, I was just looking at some of the numbers for this series that the Jays have had here in Montreal. 4 exhibition games. They have averaged over 48,000 per game.
This is Sandy Leon. Another play for Urania. 2 ground ball outs here in the 10th.
And tonight they topped that. 50,000.
Patrick McCoy pitching with 2 outs here in the 10th inning. And, you know, there's such a push here in Montreal. Pedro Martinez, who spoke of it before the game, challenging the city fathers to put an effort together and get a stadium built downtown. If you build it, they will come. You can see the artist's conception. There's a deep drive, but well foul after that of Travis Shaw. But the thought among the locals here in Montreal is if we could possibly put together a stadium plan to build a stadium downtown near the Bell Center where the Canadiens play. That's the mayor there that has been out enjoying the great atmosphere, and he is a big supporter of bringing baseball back to Montreal.
Looks like he got an autograph from Pedro, didn't it, on his hat there, acknowledging him in his speech today to get something done.
The Expos, of course, had a terrific ball club in 1994. They had the best record in baseball, and then the strike hit, and all of that was wiped out. The only other time they had a chance for the postseason, labor strife cost them then too. The 1981 season, they actually got into the postseason and lost a tough Game 5 to the Dodgers.
Blue Monday, is that what they call it here?
Rick Monday hit a home run to straightaway center off Steve Rogers, who came into the ball game to pitch relief, and the Expos lost 2-1 to Fernando Valenzuela. Valenzuela pitched 8 2/3 in that game and drove in a run to tie it up 1-1. Had a ground out for an RBI. It was 1-1 going into the top of the ninth.
You know what they did so well here is draft and develop great players.
Well, they had some players. Tim Raines, Rodney Scott, Andre Dawson, Gary Carter, Rondell White, Warren Cromartie. Chris Spire was the shortstop on that 81 team. Ray Burris was the starting pitcher in that Game 5. Travis Shaw. Up and away, ball 4. 2-out walk. The late Gary Carter, the Hall of Fame catcher who we lost way too soon. He was the kid here in Montreal. The Expos began their history playing at Jerry Park, 1969 expansion team, and they have renamed the street where Jerry Park is Rue de Gary Carter. That's pretty cool.
We looked that one up today, huh?
Yep.
Where Jerry Park was located. It's now a condominium development.
Mauricio Dubon has taken over at first base for Travis Shaw as the pinch runner. Kochman gets over near the dugout, and it's over the dugout. You know, everybody gets excited about the great turnout in this 2-game series. This is the 3rd year they've really had a great turnout, but the question is, can they maintain the support over an 81-game season?
I think a stadium would be essential to get a Major League franchise back here.
And nowadays they've done such a great job in building these new stadiums. You could build a smaller scale stadium, seat 37, 40,000 people, build it downtown, throw a retractable roof on it, play some natural grass there, and it might work. I tell you what, I think it would really work. Put an American League East team here in Montreal and create that rivalry.
Could you imagine the rivalry, the Blue Jays and a team here in Boston, New York?
Chris Young getting a taste of left-handed pitching. That's going to be his assignment during the regular season. He started against Jay Happ, went 1 for 2, and then has faced one right-hander, Ryan Tepera, flied out to left, and then flied out to center against Chad Gerardo, another lefty. Right now, he's sizing up something on the inner half.
Yeah. You start getting into these counts right here, 2-1. You're looking for something out over the plate. You're thinking extra bases right now. Extra base hit. I got to score that run from first base.
Young hit .327 a year ago against lefty pitching. Interesting that he hit 14 home runs. It was split right down the middle. 7 against lefties, 7 against righties.
He did that with the Yankees, right?
Yes.
Playing in that ballpark. Very fun for right-handers.
He takes ball 4, 2 outs. Now that'll push the runner to second. It's first and second. Pete Walker, pitching coach, out of the dugout quickly.
Boy, 2 quick outs. Attack. Getting the first 2 outs. And then when Travis Shaw hit that first pitch way deep down the right field line, it's almost like McCoy has now become very defensive on the mound. And he has walked the next 2 batters.
Brian Lemaire struck out against David Ardman in the 9th. Pete Walker with a short visit to the mound.
Probably say, hey, let's go. You're good. Let that ball sink. Throw strikes. Help your defense out.
Can't find the zone now. It's 2-0. John Gibbons trying to contemplate extra innings here, seeing what they can do as far as pacing the pitching.
They made an announcement before this inning started that they only play 1 inning in extra innings. That's what they were saying on the loudspeaker here. So you brought up a full complement of pitchers, but you still have another game tomorrow.
The Blue Jays didn't bring their bullpen. They left most of their bullpen down south with Osuna, and there's a ball driven over the head of the center fielder, and that's going to score a couple of runs. 1 run is in. Devon comes in to score. Here comes the second runner all the way from first. Chris Young scores, and just like that, the Red Sox have taken a 2-run lead here in the top of the 10th. Those walks with 2 outs came back to bite Patrick McCoy.
Yeah, became very defensive, fell behind batters, walked them, and then Lemaire fell behind him, and he's got to throw a pitch right down Broadway, and he's going to get hurt. Showing off some pop the other way. Right center field drills it over the head of Fields to score both runners. That's what you're supposed to do with a 3-run fastball.
Get your pitch and drive it. He didn't try to pull it. He went the other way and drove it all the way to the gap in right center. Alan Craig. Craig walked against Ardsman in the 9th. His only plate appearance. One and one. Hit hard. Barney is there. That'll end the inning. But Boston, with 2 outs and nobody on, get a couple of walks from Patrick McCoy, and Ryan Lemaire cashes them in. 4-2 Red Sox.
Fans J Shop is Canada's largest and only official team shop for your Toronto Blue Jays. The new 2016 authentic jersey with 40th season sleeve patch is available now. Get yours today at jshop.ca. Buck.
Big season coming up for the Blue Jays. They'll wear that 40th anniversary patch all season long on their uniform. And we have reached the bottom of the 10th. The Red Sox have taken a 2-run lead, and Luis Isla is into the ball game. He is from Venezuela.
One of those young pitchers that was added to the roster for this series. So just an A-ball last year, got into 35 games. You got to figure that his heart might be pumping here as he tries to save this one for the Red Sox. Looks like he's got a pretty good arm.
Signed originally with the San Francisco Giants in 2013. He came to Boston last season. Pitched in 2 games in the Carolina League after spending the entire season in the California League at San Jose with the Giants. So the Blue Jays are down by 2. Ezequiel Carrera, the right fielder, had a base hit, infield base hit in this 7th. Stole a base, but was left stranded. Well, last thing you want from your pitcher is to walk the leadoff man in the bottom of the 10th. Lots of happy fans here, and they've got some autographs. Red Sox and Blue Jays fans, the youngsters, out to enjoy this great atmosphere. Green light for Carrera, and he pops it down the left field line. Young gets there, makes the catch in foul territory. John Gibbons giving Carrera the green light.
You can do that in spring training. Regular season, obviously, is going to try and get himself aboard. I like that. I like giving guys the freedom like that, especially in these types of games.
In a spring training game, you want to give the hitters an opportunity to swing the bat. Darwin Barney struck out in his only plate appearance back in the 7th. Driven to right. Two down. A reminder, fans, we'll be right back here at Olympic Stadium in Montreal tomorrow. Pre-game show with Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn. That begins at 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 Pacific. It'll be in 4K tomorrow. New technology will really enhance your pictures, so make sure you come on back and tune in tomorrow.
We got to get some extra makeup then if we're in 4K for our opening.
This is Rowdy Tellez, who took over in the DH spot. Tellez flew out to center in his only plate appearance. Tellez is one of the few power prospects the Blue Jays have in their system. He's the first baseman who's going to start his season at AA New Hampshire.
Tellez, Vladimir Guerrero, I guess, who's only 16 years old, will probably be an extended spring training. You're right. There's not a lot of power in the organization.
Tellez had a good season in the Arizona Fall League. Hit some home runs out there against real tough pitching prospects.
I think that's what gave him that bump to start the season in AA, because he finished last year in the Florida State League.
Tellez hit 4 home runs in the Arizona Fall League in just 21 games. 2-1. Big cut. During the regular season, Tellez in 103 games hit 14 home runs and drove in 77. He started out the season in Lansing in the Midwest League and was promoted to Dunedin, then he broke his hamate bone.
Young, he's 21 years old.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Waves at that nasty pitch down and away. That's the ball game, folks. Isla strikes out Rowdy Tellez, and the Blue Jays lose in extra innings 4-2 to Boston.
Well, you got a chance to see Jay Happ. Jay got his 4 innings in. The regulars got a couple of at-bats. They got to play on turf under the lights as they get ready for the regular season.
Kevin Pillar and Michael Saunders both hit home runs in their first at-bats. We'll be right back here tomorrow. Coming up next on Sportsnet, it's Sportsnet Central. On Sportsnet Pacific, how about a little hockey? Thanks for watching tonight. Hope you had a good time. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.